Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. I am Josh Henning.
I'm Phil Gerber.
I'm Jeremy Gerber.
Welcome, everybody, back to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original, presented by Blade HQ. Whether you're into cars, motorcycles, hunting, fishing, grilling, or any number of things, you've got the tools that you swear by. Have you ever noticed that the tool that finds its way into every job is a knife? Do you have the knife that you swear by? Do you?
I've got a number of them.
Got a handful.
Yeah, I swear by quite a few.
Well,
Got a cool one tonight.
If you don't and you're listening, it's time you got yourself one. Head over to bladehq.com/oil and whiskey and check out their selection of knives. Tonight, we're going to be talking with Motor Trend TV's Chris Jacobs. We've also got a new round of Roadster Shop Hall of Fame. We start at the beginning with just about every guest, and I've got some notes here that was provided by the production company, and I was actually pre-reading. There's some stuff I didn't even know. So it says you have a law degree, acting credentials, and you also hosted Long Lost Family. So before we get into that, tell us where everything started. If you got a law degree, I mean, you're also into cars and you've got acting. That's got to be a wild ride.
That's exactly the opposite of what we always say. We're always like, if we were smarter, we wouldn't be doing this,
Right.
But he went the other way. He was smarter and he gave it up and went this route, dude.
He got the real education, still ended up with us.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't just have a law degree. I actually passed the bar in California on my first try, but that was way back in 1995. So I've since forgotten everything about the law, but I consider that one of the greatest accomplishments of my life is passing the bar on my first try. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, then when I was done passing the bar, I said to myself, what's even harder than trying to become a lawyer? I said, trying to make it in entertainment. So I set the bar a little higher for myself, and I just started chasing the brass ring. And from 95 till 2003, I was a pretty, middle of the road, mediocre-ish actor. I did a bunch of TV shows and commercials and a few movies. And then in 2003, in October of 2003, I auditioned for Overhaulin, and that's what got me into cars and what's completely changed my life since then. It's hard to believe that's 19 years ago that we started shooting the show, but
2003 too.
That's how old we are.
Yeah.
It makes you feel
getting
good.
older every day.
So what was that like auditioning for Overhaul? I mean, because at that point, nobody really knew what it was going to be.
No, nobody knew what it was going to be. I mean, truth be told, I didn't even know who Chip was when I auditioned for the show. Because I was an actor, the producers of the show were looking for someone who could improvise and play the pranks. And so my agent sent me in on the audition, and I just kind of winged it and showed a little personality. And then I remember Courtney was already cast on the show, so she was there too. And we had a little kind of short chemistry test together. We did some reads to the camera. And I'll never forget, too, they had like a card table that was covered in various car parts. And, they said, so see if you can tell me what these parts are. And I was like, that's a air cleaner and that's the, muffler. And so I must have done enough right to get the job. It was just one quick audition, and they called me about 2 weeks later and they said, hey, we're going to do this show. And like I said, I had no idea who Chip was or what the show was even about. I just knew that I was going to be able to play pranks on people, which sounded really appealing to me because I'm a smart ass by nature. And so the show just kind of evolved. We didn't really know what we were going to do at the beginning, and the network had only ordered 7 episodes. And I remember at the time, American Chopper was really popular, and they were an American Hot Rod also. And so they would fight a lot in the shop. That was kind of like the appeal. And so I remember the producers on the first couple of days were asking Chip and I, they're like, hey, can you guys get into an argument, maybe throw some tools around? And Chip just went, no, that's not how I do things.
Chip's pretty mild. He's pretty mild-tempered.
Find a solution.
Yeah.
He's totally mild-mannered. I've never seen him get flustered in all the years that I've known him. And he's exactly that kind of guy. If there's a problem, he finds an efficient solution to any, not just car problems, any sort of problems, personality problems, anything. So that's just the tack that the show took. And then it became this kind of fun-loving show because we were having so much fun in the shop, knowing that we were building this person's dream car while we were making their lives completely miserable for a week. So, you know, Chip and the A team took care of the rebuilding part. I got my hands dirty a little bit, but my job mainly was to, just mess with these people. I mean, talk about a dream job. It was incredible. I had to pinch myself every day that I was actually making a living, messing with people. So it was a lot of fun.
You can screw with them pretty bad and make it pretty miserable when you know that in a week, everything's fixing to be roses.
Did that ever get dicey?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the light at the end of the tunnle.
Did that ever get dicey? Because I know we played a prank once on an employee of ours years ago, and what did we do? We
Dean's wheels?
Yeah, we stole the wheels off of his car, just messing around like at the shop, put up on blocks, and made it look like somebody swiped him. But it got to the point where he went and filed a police report, and we let him get that far. But we're like, dude, you probably shouldn't do that. It's these things, they come back. Sometimes people were, but does it ever get like just too far where you're like, hey, look, dude, sorry, this is a TV show. Like, listen, we're rebuilding your car. Like, because I could see some people going like crazy.
Well, I mean, in one of the episodes in the last season of the show, it finally happened. A guy decked me. It was well deserved. I had smashed the windshield of his Corvette with my guitar. So he came around the car, and I got caught up in the moment. And the plan was to keep the car in between him and me, because we knew, he's a big dude, and we knew that he had a volatile temper. And so, but me being an in the moment kind of guy, I actually went up to him and tried to high five him, and he just reared back and decked me. And luckily I saw it coming a little bit, because I rolled with the punch a little bit and went down.
He bring the heat? What kind of
my earpiece flew out.
What kind of power did he have?
Was that like a jab, or
was it a good
like
one?
A hook?
Oh no, it was a straight right. And and like I said, I mean, he knows how to throw a punch, and he like very calmly. Here's the kind of the setup, and this is a great episode. As soon as the network found out that I was okay, they like started going into planning mode, how they were going to promote the fact that I got decked on the show.
That's good for ratings.
Yeah, totally. So he was in this death metal band when he was younger. So me, Chip Foose, and Mitch Lanzini, who's our paint and body guy on the show, we were going to prank him by pretending that we were a tribute band for his band, and that we wanted him to join us to sing and like get back together. And so we had these really bad wigs on, and I was playing guitar, and Chip was singing. It was this absolutely awful song. Mitch was playing his guitar too. And we had set up in his driveway. So he comes pulling in his, I think it was a C6. And he comes in, he parks, and he gets out of the car, and he's kind of amused. He's not really sure what's going on. And we launch into our song, and getting totally into it. And I take my guitar off, and I absolutely crush his windshield with my guitar. Shattered it on the first try. It was amazing. So then I threw my guitar down on the ground, and I was like, yeah! He like had this look that was half amusement and half complete rage on his face, but he didn't like lose control. And I started to walk towards him, and like I said, was going to high five him. And he just, with a kind of a bemused look on his face, a little smile, he just reared back, pop, hit me with a straight right. And it happened in slow motion. So I was actually able to turn with it just a little bit. And he caught me right there, and he dropped me like a sack of potatoes. Like I said, my wig went flying off, my earpiece flew out, my sunglasses flew off, and I was down on the ground. And I could tell he was getting ready to hit me again. So I was kind of covering up, and I'm going, Glenn, no, don't do it. And Chip runs over and grabs him, and he goes, Glenn, don't do it. You're on Overhaulin. And he went from like maniacal, rightfully so, maniacal rage to he couldn't believe what was happening. And he felt so bad that he had punched me. But fortunately, I took it pretty well, and I popped right back up. And, everything was okay. But when you ask, has things ever gotten dicey?
Yeah, that's
dicey.
Not as dicey as it gets.
Many people had wanted to hit me over the years, I'm very sure. And Glenn with the Corvette finally did. there was another time where we were messing with a Navy SEAL, and I was pranking him really badly, and we were treading water very carefully around that guy because he was built out of granite. But you know what? No risk, no reward. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I love putting it all on the edge and just going for it. Yep.
No, it's good to know that it's that real.
Yeah.
You know.
So you guys had actual fighting in your show opposed to all the fake manufactured fighting in the other shows.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Overhaulin was what got you to be a real car guy?
Yeah, I mean, I liked cars, which I think is the reason that my agent sent me in on the audition. But being on Overhaulin really gave me car knowledge. I like to put it like this: if total car knowledge is 100, like Chip Foose is 100, he may even be like 110. When I started the show, I was at about a 12, and now I'm at like 35, maybe. There's still a lot to learn. I am in no means a mechanic. I don't claim to be a mechanic. I have total respect for what you guys do. I'm very good at taking cars apart, putting them back together. I leave it to the experts. So I have a lot of car knowledge, and that serves me well in the various jobs that I do, with the auctions and things like that.
What got you into the Mopar stuff?
Long time ago, my buddy Peter Murnick turned me on. I wanted an old convertible, and he goes, I saw this one in the paper, and it turned out to be a '68 Plymouth Sport Fury convertible with the 383 Super Commando in there, 787 trans, and I just fell in love with Mopar. I bought that car, and I loved that car so much, and that kind of just like opened the Mopar doors for me. I think I bought that car in the late '90s. And then ever since then, it's just like picking a team, you're either Blue Oval for Ford, or you're the bow tie for Chevy and GM, or you're the stepchild with the Mopars. But the Mopar guys are loud and proud.
I'm going to have to ask you to stand up again to see if you're wearing cutoff jean shorts, or if you can turn around and see if you got a rat tail coming out the back.
Camo shorts.
Yeah.
I don't have enough hair anymore to
take it into the rat tail.
But I did have one. I did have one back then.
Nice.
It's probably required when you buy the Mopar. They got to check for that.
Absolutely. Mopars have always. I mean, I've never been like a diehard just Chevy, just Ford, just Mopar. Mopar's always been the coolest looking stuff. I mean, the most personality.
And they got a Hemi.
Yeah, the thing got a Hemi in it. But when you get to our level, they're the most like ill-fitting. They take a lot of work to make nice, but I think like a 70 Cuda, 70, 73, 70 Challenger, those are probably some of the sexiest muscle cars of all time, in my opinion.
I've always wanted to own an e-body. My dream car, Mopar dream car anyway, is a 70 AAR Cuda. Like if I could get one of those, it'd be amazing. There's one on Bring a Trailer right now, which actually is exactly like the setup I want: Alpine white, black interior, pistol grip, 4-speed. But when I saw it like 2 days ago, it was at $50,000. I mean, you guys know how Bring a Trailer is like. It's gonna go like in the last hour, it'll skyrocket. Yeah.
Every time I get my hopes up on Bring a Trailer, they go like. Everybody just watches it in that last hour, and then it's not like eBay. You can't get that. You can't
sniper bid.
Yeah, you can't slide in and get that deal. It just
they
keeps extending.
Figured out the algorithm. Yeah.
As
soon as a bid goes in, there's another 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is. Yeah, they do a really good job. It's fair because you're right. That eBay method where everyone's waiting till the last second to hit the button.
Yeah, it helps with buyer's remorse too. Because we're usually able to kind of like sound off each other when you're like
to a point.
Yeah, you get all like in the moment. You click that big bid, and then somebody's always going to outbid you. So it gives you at least some time because it keeps recirculating. To be like, I don't really need this. That's weight.
Second, third, fourth chance.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we spent this much. You might as well spend another $1,000 to get it. All right, you might as well spend another $1,000.
Right. What's another $1,000? Yeah.
And you look back. We're here. Yeah. No, we're done. We are done.
Yep. We just did another 1,000. 12 times.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah.
Pump the brakes. What else do you have in your current car collection?
It's pretty pared down right now. My daily driver is my Challenger Red Eye, 2019 Destroyer Gray. A lot of fun, but in these gas prices times, it's crazy. And then the other only cool car I have is my 85 911, and that's the car that I'll never sell.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that thing has just skyrocketed in value since I owned it. I bought it in 2005 for 17.5, I think, and they're going for 40, 45, 50 all day long. But doesn't matter because that's the one car that I'll never sell. And then my 68 GTX, which was painted by Foose back in 2005, I sold that at auction for charity in 2020, January of 2020. And actually, the guy that bought it became a friend of mine, and he has now shipped it back to me, and we're freshening it up a little bit. And then we're going to run it through auction again in January at the Mecum in Kissimmee. So he bought the car. All the proceeds went to auction, and now he's going to offer up the car again for another bite for the same charity, which is the C4 Foundation, which is a organization that benefits the Navy SEALs.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's got to be I guess after this many years in the industry, in your career path, it's got to be pretty sobering to know. I know we see it on our end that anything automotive, that needs a host, you've been called on, I'm sure, to do, and you've done most of them. And it's almost like that's the pedigree. So you see something that's being hosted by somebody other than Chris Jacobs, it's kind of like, well, it's not Chris Jacobs,
It's
right.
busy.
Like maybe that show will catch on, and when it does, they'll probably reach out to Chris Jacobs.
And in the opposite, if your name's tied to it, then it's kind of like a must watch. It's instantly that brings the pedigree up on that show, not knowing anything else about it, but like, well, shit, if Chris Jacobs doing it, it's got to be something,
Well, I really appreciate you guys saying that, and hope that trend continues. I would like to continue hosting shows. Whoops, I just checked my camera. But yeah, right now I'm doing the Mecum auctions, and I've got a couple other projects in development. We'll see what happens. But I think right now I've been focusing more on kind of the ancillary projects that are in the industry. I do a lot of work with Hagerty, which is becoming a pretty big media company in their own right. I did a series for them called Dream Collections. And they do something with Chip. They do something with Magnus Walker. And of course, they've got Barn Find Hunters with Tom. That's one of my favorite shows on Hagerty, which is really cool. I work with Griot's Garage, doing a lot of content creation with them. And Radwood Racing School in Arizona. Those guys are good friends of mine. I've been working with them for a few years too. And that's where Ant Anstead is building his Radford Motors cars out of there in Arizona. So branching out just from the traditional kind of shows that are just on linear. I mean, you guys know it's like it's a digital age now. Everybody's walking around and watching stuff on their phones and their tablets and their laptops versus everything being on the television. So obviously still doing a lot of work with Motor Trend, but I'm always looking for other avenues too, because that's kind of the way the automotive industry is right now. It's coming in quick hits. The Motor Trend still has a bunch of build shows that are very, very popular, but people essentially are their own shows. Like you guys, for instance, following you guys on social media channels, it's like you're your own show by the work that you guys are doing. That's what people want to see. So there's a lot more kind of room for content to be disseminated, and just always trying to stay a couple steps ahead of the curve when it comes to that.
Tell us a little bit about the Dream Collections. I honestly haven't seen the show. I need to check it out. I was reading a little bit before the interview, but tell us a little bit about that and how it came about. What's the premise?
Yeah, well, it's exactly that. We go around the country checking out amazing car collections. Some of the highlights were McKeel Hagerty's collection that he has at the headquarters there in Traverse City, Michigan. And I went up to Scotts Valley to hang out with Bruce Canepa, and he took me around
awesome
Laguna
place.
Seca. Yeah. Oh my God. Canepa Motorsports is like, I could spend weeks there, months there. And it was cool because we went up and met him at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, and he took me around the track in his 935. And then he took me around the track again in a race prepared Ford GT. And that guy I mean, he could literally drive that track with his eyes closed. And his goal that day was try to get me to pee my pants or scream out or something. So he was driving hard, but I love that kind of stuff, and so I was not at all afraid. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, if I'm going to go out crashing at Laguna Seca with Bruce Canepa behind the wheel is a pretty cool way to go. So I wasn't really worried about the dire consequences.
Yeah, it'd be a great TMC story,
Totally, right? I mean, come on. But he was driving it so hard that when we were in the GT, he had such control of the car because it's so technologically advanced. We came up on a group of cars that were, I think had just entered the track, so they weren't up to speed yet. And he didn't even hesitate. He went through them so quickly and so expertly, and we were right above the chicane. And so he took a non-traditional line going into the chicane, and I thought that the corkscrew. And I thought that he was going to at least lift a little bit, but he just pegged it. He just chose another line at the top of the corkscrew and went right through it without even, missing a beat. So it was really amazing. And after that, we went over to his motorsport shop, and he took me all around and showed me everything they're working on, and then up into his showroom. And so that was a great, great day at Canepa. I think we made 13 episodes total. And again, every episode is just an amazing collection across the country. And you should check it out, Haggerty.com.
Yeah, that's something we definitely got to check out. The problem with a lot of these car shows, then like the ones that are like push, when you do it for like 15 hours a day, it can oftentimes be difficult to sometimes you want to get home and that's the only escape is you want to detach from it.
Great British Bake Off.
Right.
Yeah, momentarily. Yeah, right. Exactly. House hunters or
okay, well, let me suggest another alternative to you then. When you get home this evening, dial up, if you've got Discovery Plus, you can watch my family show called Long Lost Family. And if you don't cry, you're a robot.
I will check it out. So what is that about?
Long Lost Family is a show that I did. We stopped doing it in 2019, late 2019. We made 61 episodes. It's a show about reuniting people who were adopted with their birth families.
Oh.
So it's either some kids looking for their parents or parents looking for a child that they place for adoption. It's an incredibly emotional show. It's my story. I was adopted, and I reconnected with my birth mom when I was 23. And so when they were conceiving this show, it's actually based on a show that started in England. And when they were doing the American version, TLC came to me and offered me the show. And I was like, definitely, I would love to do this. And got to travel all over the country, reuniting people. And, it's the most genuine project I've ever been involved with. There are two moments in the show in every episode that absolutely cannot be faked. And it is when I tell the person who's looking for their long lost family member that I've found them. And then the second moment is when they're actually reunited and they see each other for the first time after all those years.
That's got to be quite the tearjerker.
So pure. Oh man, absolutely. That's why I say, if you don't cry, you're a robot.
That's pretty great. I'm actually adopted as well. My wife found my birth father about 5 years ago and did we reunited and all that. So that one.
Oh, so you know the feeling. That's awesome.
That one would definitely. I probably won't watch it. My kids. They don't need to see me cry at home. I've got a 15-year-old son, and he doesn't need to see that.
Wait till he goes to bed.
Yeah.
Well, I can understand that you saying you won't watch it because you've been through it.
Yeah.
And I actually rarely watch the finished project of that show because going through it, making it is such an emotional drain. And then it's also my story too. So, I kind of have that
right
set of emotions built in. But, check it out. It's a really great show. It's really, really well produced. And, it's nothing but good feelings.
Yeah, that's great. You've got a
multifaceted.
There's a good trend with that. When you look at Overhaulin, it's not much different.
It's all life-changing.
Yeah,
events
the life-changing
upbringing.
Yeah, you take a guy's car away from him, and they're all something that somebody's got some connection with, and you reunite them with it. You get those are the best parts. Like for us, you struggle through building a car is not easy work. I mean, you struggle through it. There's ups and downs, and it rips your heart out. But the best part about it is when you get to debut that
making that
see,
person
see the
happy.
reaction.
Well, he's a great
Yeah,
guy.
he gets to do all the cool shit,
He
man.
gives back. He does these amazing shows about, reunite. He's into vintage vinyl. He drinks whiskey. If you could just do away with that Mopar thing, he'd be like an all around great
Dude,
guy.
I'm fine with the Mopar thing. I could get, yeah, I'm good with that. So.
Leopard can't change their spots, unfortunately. You gotta
Oh,
stick with what you love.
We've got one.
Yeah, I also I worked for a while for the NFL Network too, which is another big passion of mine. I love pro football. I'm a huge Chicago Bears fan, and so I worked for NFL Network for about 5 or 6 years too. So that was pretty cool.
You're a Chicago guy, aren't you? Or Illinois?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear
Yep.
when
Chicago.
your name comes up around
Yeah.
here, people are always say you're like, is it New Trier or you're somewhere in you grew up in the
Yeah.
suburbs, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not stalking
Yeah,
you.
I grew up-
It's broad. It's
No,
come
no,
up a
no.
lot of times in
Yeah,
conversation because it's right down the street from
it's all out there.
where we grew up.
Yeah, you guys are based right by there. I grew up in Glencoe,
Okay.
which is about 30 minutes north of the city.
Yeah.
And I actually just got back from there. I was there for a couple days this past few days, and playing in a golf tournament. Got a chance to hang out with my sister and her husband, who still live in Glencoe. And I love going back there. I always go to the Bears home opener and the Bears Packers game at Soldier, and then I try to catch a couple Cubs games every year. And then always Christmas and a couple of the random times too. So
you'll have to come up and check out the shop next time you're in town, man.
I know. I want to. I got to make a point of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not for Glencoe's a cool little downtown, and that we grew up in Deerfield, so that that's like basically, I mean, what,
10
used to
miles
play
away.
hockey against the Deerfield Falcons. I played for the Winnetka Warriors.
Nice.
So
You must have won every game.
Yeah, yeah. Deerfield sports were never,
Wasn't our strong suit.
Yeah.
We had one of my good buddies was on the Deerfield hockey team.
Oh,
we would all
God.
go and we would chant moral victory every time we got the puck across the blue line. Like that was considered a win for us. Yeah, not a strong
count
No,
that as
not at
a
all.
third of a goal.
Yep.
Add them all up.
Ah,
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I loved growing up in Chicago, and got it tattooed on me right
Oh,
there.
hell
so,
yeah. So how is it when you leave?
It's in my blood.
A lot of people bitch about Illinois, and there's some highlights of it. There's some negatives, but when you leave Illinois, you're a California guy now, right? Is that what,
I am. I mean, I've lived in California since '88. Came out here for college, and never intended to go back.
Sure.
Like I said, it was always my dream to be an actor, and so California, obviously, back then was the place that you had to be. Plus, 320 days of sunshine a year doesn't hurt after living through those Chicago winters.
But looking back, is
yeah,
Chicago a horrible place, or is it, would you say it's
no?
Do you miss some things about it? Is it all bad?
Absolutely. Well, that's why I go back so much, and that's why I loved growing up in Glencoe, and I love going back to Glencoe. It's really easy to get downtown. You just jump on the train, and in a half hour you're downtown. And I always make it a point, if I'm there for 3 or 4 days, one of those days I'm going to go downtown and walk around and go to the museums, Art Institute, and Chicago Theater and Buckingham Fountain, all the kind of the touristy stuff that I like to do, and occasionally take that river tour. It's just such a cool city. It's cool downtown. It's gotten a bad rep lately because of all the violence that's been going on there. Yeah, which is a bummer because I constantly find myself having to defend it. As soon as I say I'm from Chicago, people are like, "Oh yeah, don't go there. It's so dangerous." But LA's no picnic either. So it's kind of you can find the good anywhere. It all depends on what your outlook is. You can either choose to focus on the negative or focus on the positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've done a lot of work, obviously, with Barrett-Jackson and now Meekum.
Yeah.
What have those experiences been like? Good, bad, otherwise? I mean, obviously, from a car guy, I mean, getting into it, you're around that every single day. There's nothing better.
It's the best. I mean, working for Barrett-Jackson for 6 years was, one of the best jobs I ever had. And Meekum now the same. To get to be around cars that are for the most part, in the best possible shape that they can be in, because the consignor wants to get as much money as they can for them. It's just like it's walking around the coolest car museum / car show anywhere. And with Mecum, I get to do it 10 times a year. Barrett-Jackson was 4 times a year. More days for Barrett-Jackson per auction. Mecum gets them done either 2, 3, or 4 days. But like, for instance, Scottsdale, Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale, that was just like the ultimate. Or, I get to go to a car week with Haggerty in Pebble Beach, and that's taking it up even another level. And also, Barrett-Jackson and Mecum are so much fun because most of the cars are in my kind of the sweet spot that I like, which is, 60s and 70s muscle. So yeah, like I said, I mean, doing the auctions is just, I can't believe that they pay me to do it. I mean, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, everyone else is paying to go there to see the stuff, and you get to get paid to be there.
I can imagine,
and
though,
it's a cool way to get in touch with the fans too. I love having conversations with the fans. I love hearing about their cars, and obviously getting the love for the show is great. So that's another reason I like to be there. You get to kind of connect with the fan base, which is great.
You've been around those cars and the values for so long, so many years between Barrett and Mecum, and you can kind of, after a while, it's second nature to just kind of look at a car and know the value, or know what it would go at auction, or know what it would go on the secondary. I mean, you're on Bring a Trailer, you're doing this. I'm sure it's crazy in the circles, whether, it's wife's friends or going out to dinner, meeting somebody else. Oh, this guy's a car guy. Well, I've got a $75,000 '69 Camaro. And you're, in the head, because being a, expert, air quotes, you kind of like, yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, probably great. That's got to be, because those values are just kind of in your brain. You can just know exactly by seeing one, exactly what it would bring.
Well, I mean, a '69 Camaro can be anywhere from 15,000 or 250,000, depending on what it is. So if someone just says to me, I have a '69 Camaro and it's worth 75,000, I go, well, I'll have to see it in person to, really tell you what I think. But yeah, values have just gone through the roof, especially during the pandemic and after the pandemic. I think the pandemic really opened a lot of eyes for people who are always like going, well, I'll buy that car one day. These guys who have all this disposable income, they realize, hey, who knows what the future holds. So I'm going to buy this car now. And that's really made the entire market go up. I mean, I'll give you an example. The one car that I bought at Barrett-Jackson was a dream car of mine that I had always wanted to own. It's an '87 Grand National. And that was like my favorite car in high school. And so one rolled across the stage. I wasn't even planning on buying it. In fact, we were doing our mic checks to get ready to go on air. And here comes this pretty clean Grand National up on the stage, and it's like stalling out around $14,000. So I'm like, I'll put my hand up, got up to, I think I bought it for 17.
Whoa.
And I had it for 2 years.
That's $40,000
Loved it while
car.
I had it. Dude, I'm telling you. And I sold it 2 years later for 20, I think 6 or 7. And I thought that I was like the smartest guy in the room, because I enjoyed the car for two years and then made some money off it. And now look at them. Like you said, $40,000 for like leaky T-top Grand Nationals.
Yeah.
And then the GNXs.
Oh, the GNX is crazy.
250, 300,000.
I know. Yeah, we just bought, about a year ago, we bought a Grand National for a customer. Probably one of the more mint Grand Nationals, would you say? Like super low mileage. The guy,
30,000 original miles.
Guy's had it like since new. Absolutely babied it. I mean, it was like his dream car, his child. And we cut the ever living shit out of it. We took it back, and he let us know he put a little bit of high octane fuel in it. He told us put a little bit of 100 octane in it,
so we could do burnouts on the ride.
He's like,
home
so if you want to get on it a little bit, that way it won't detonate. But so now it's like we've painted it, flared it. It's on a chassis. It's a twin turbo V8, but
nice.
It's fucking cool.
But it was just a Grand National, not a GTX.
Yeah, just a Grand. Yeah, that's. I mean, I got to draw the line somewhere. I wouldn't chop up a GNX, especially knowing what kind of money they bring now.
If the money was right, we would.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing to me how many low mileage GNXs are out there and constantly coming to the auction market. It's like, they only made 547 of them, something like that. So, how many guys just like
Back
put
then,
those away
yeah.
and never drove them?
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever
and
drove
back
them at
then
all.
too.
It's a weird deal. Every one of those cars, like that Grand National we picked up, it was like a 25,000-mile car. Everyone you see, it's like, what the fuck were
Drive
you
and
think
put
when
'em
you
up.
bought this
There's
car?
there's
What did
those
you think?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
every one of them is like 10 miles,
How did
there's
you have the
those
restraint
people.
to not
1,500
drive it?
miles. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you know, and how did you have the restraint to keep your
Right.
foot out of it? Because it was, at the time in '87, it was the fastest production car out there. In fact, I think GM had to fudge their numbers so it didn't look on paper faster than the Corvette, because they
Yes.
thought it would affect
Yeah.
Corvette sales.
There's those people out there though. I mean, it's crazy to think back then that there was, especially in that era with, I mean, the way cars were going, and I mean, gas prices and stuff like that, that somebody was buying it for the investment. Look, but there was a family friend years and years ago that bought remember the Lincoln Blackwood trucks?
Yeah.
Yeah. You still have one. That's
I
Right,
don't. I
there's
do
your
not
note.
have that. Now, this is a family friend that bought one, and I remember him buying it. We were over there for a family dinner or something like that. I mean, it was tucked away in the back of the garage. I was like, "Didn't you just buy that thing?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, I bought it for an investment. I'm never driving that thing." And it was brand new, and he bought it because he thought that was going to be I mean, I don't know what they're bringing now, but
He bought it
that
because
was-
he wanted to park something next to his Prowler.
Yeah.
Didn't he? That belongs
mean-
next to a Plymouth Prowler.
that's a pretty
Yeah, you got a
pretty
Mopar guy here.
That's right.
it's a pretty big.
I'll tell you a
big
funny story
gamble.
about the Prowler. The Prowler is actually based on Chip Foose's senior project at Art Center.
The hemisphere, right?
And that he finally was able to build his vision later with the hemisphere. But Chrysler came in, they saw that design, they were like, wow, we're going to put this into production. And that's what became the Prowler.
That's
Yeah, I
crazy.
remember hearing about that. Fun fact, that hemisphere's one of my top vehicles of all time.
Those are amazing.
Is
I
it?
think there's only
Believe it or not.
5 of them in existence. Chip's got one. I know there's a black one. Chip's is green. There's a black one out there. And I'm not sure but I know that they only made a handful of them.
Yeah.
So
It's a gorgeous car,
complete carbon fiber monocoque. And yeah, it's an amazing car.
So going back to the auction side and seeing where car values are going, since you're in it a lot more and a little bit different than we are, what are you seeing as trends, and what's sparking those trends, do you think?
I think that the truck market is still really hot. The Broncos, the Blazers, the International Harvesters. I don't know what it is about those. They're very cool. I kind of like going back to Bring a Trailer. I use Bring a Trailer as kind of a barometer of where the market is going. And these custom Blazers are just, and Broncos are just like through the roof. It's crazy. The Mopars are still holding their value. And then, of course, the air-cooled 911s, I think, is probably still the hottest market. And it's even kind of trickling over into the first water-cooled. The 996s are finally getting their due, and they're creeping up a little bit. But I think that the air-cooled market, and the evidence is even the 912s are getting huge money. But people just love those air-cooled Porsches, and that's why I say that I'll never sell mine, even though I would love to. It's nice emergency money in case I ever ran into having to sell it. But I don't see that market going down.
Like we got a theory. Sorry, go ahead, keep going.
No, go ahead.
We've got a theory that everything seems to be based around what was cool when you were in high school.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you see that
Well,
with
it's
all
funny
the
that you
buyers at all
mentioned
the
that
auctions?
because you don't see Deuces going for big dollars anymore.
Yeah.
You're barely seeing Bel Airs going for big money anymore. The Tri-5s are kind of petering out, and it's more now about the mid to late 70s and even into the mid 80s cars are bringing the big money. The Fox bodies are starting to creep up.
I better pick up that
The
Ford
Grand
Probe
Nationals,
while I can.
we talked. Yeah, God.
The GT, baby.
It was a GT.
Yeah, no, we're seeing that as well. On
I
our
mean,
end.
for unusual factor, the Probe GT could be kind of cool. Like even like I said, there was a couple Mercurs that went across. Yeah. A couple Mercurs went across.
Oh yeah.
Kind of
I always wondered how
bring in
you
some dollars.
pronounce that, but that's
There
how
it is.
Mercure.
Yeah, I think it's Mercure. Yeah, a buddy of mine had one in high school. That's the only reason that car is
I
even on
remember
my,
that.
my
Didn't
radar.
that
Had
had
like
like
the
the
3
little
spoilers
yeah,
on the back.
dual level spoiler?
Yeah,
in
it was no
the louver spoiler.
it was no Subaru SVX, but it
Oh,
was
that was the one where the glass rolled up
the
into
glass
the
was the
glass.
half glass on the Subaru.
Quite possibly the
Mhm.
absolute worst era for automobiles in the history of the automobile. But looking back at them now, it's like, what the fuck were they
Well,
thinking?
that's
It's
what
actually it's
that's
almost
why.
cool now.
Have you guys ever been to a Radwood show?
There was one local. I forget what the hell we were doing, but there was one in Chicago.
So
Bunch of
Radwood celebrates cars of the 80s and 90s.
yeah.
And so, you see all the, like, I just went to one in Connecticut actually. And there was some really cool mid 80s cars that, like, you never thought you'd see this car again. You saw them all the time when you were in high school, and then you see it and you're like, holy shit, it brings back all these cobweb memories. So check it out. Next time there's a Radwood close by you, I encourage you to go to that
I'd
show.
imagine
It's a lot of fun.
there'd be one coming up this summer, but
Any
I mean,
Toyota Previas there, you think?
oh, I guarantee you there's some Previas. Probably some
I saw
Cavaliers,
I
Z24s,
I saw some. I
Sunfires.
think I saw an MR2.
Yeah.
It might have been MR2.
Well, you
there,
don't know
yeah.
if you saw an MR2 because an MR2 can be anything. You can turn an MR2 into a Ferrari, a Lamborghini,
That's true.
McLaren.
There's a
Like,
body kit you slap on it.
like a Fiero.
Fiero.
exactly.
It was a Fiero.
Well,
Yeah.
careful, don't
like the
disparage the great
Japanese
Fiero. Jeremy's a huge Fiero
Certainly
fan.
not the GT.
Yeah, a
Remember
little more
when
of
the
a
Fiero
purist.
GT came out? It's like, wow, how cool is that?
Yeah. What's the craziest thing you've seen run at auction?
Some people just have to have what they love. The Beverly Hills Hillbilly car, the Beverly Hillbillies car, went for some obscene amount. I can't really even remember what the final price was, but we were all like looking at each other, scratching our heads, like, really? That thing went for that much? I know at Barrett-Jackson a couple years ago, Kevin Hart paid some huge money for a Corvette. I think it's a C2 maybe. Beautiful car, but I think he paid like north of $800,000 for it.
He got up in the fun of Barrett-Jackson. Had a few
Yeah, he got
few
caught
too
up
many and got caught up. Yep.
And the key ingredient, another guy who got caught up.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to have 2
so
or
now
3.
they're going back and forth. That's the auctioneer's dream, is to have 2 guys who will not let it go.
Yeah.
But it's it's always mind-boggling, especially like at Barrett-Jackson on Super Saturday later in the day when they have like 20 cars in a row that'll go for $1 million plus. It's just it's crazy, and the energy in the room just swells, and it's a lot of fun. It's those auctions just create this atmosphere that's really pretty amazing when you think about what's actually going on. It's just a bunch of custom cars going across the stage, but this energy amps up. It's the way it's presented, and the auctioneer's voice providing that soundtrack, and everybody's drinking and having a good time, and it's a unique experience to say the least. So it was definitely a privilege for me to be kind of inside the ropes on that for so long. And I was the one who would open the show and then just go out into the field and basically do whatever I wanted to do. Just call into the production truck which car I want to talk about. If it was going to be in the air window, they'd go, yeah, okay, that one sounds good. We'll send the camera to you, and then just talk about the car for a little bit, and then on to the next one. So it was a very cool experience, and it was also an opportunity to talk about the cars and also increase my knowledge, because there were some cars that I saw there that I didn't really know a lot about. So I do a little research on them, and then I was able to talk about them.
What's craziest? This one, I'm coming up with this one on the fly. Craziest guest celebrity on Overhaulin, or story about that.
I would have to say
setup, something.
No, I don't know anything. There's got to be a story. I mean, everybody's got a story.
Well, there's a few of them. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal was fantastic. That was actually the last episode we made. That was in February of 2020, right before the pandemic hit. We built him an Impala, and he's so huge.
Yeah, we did the chassis for it.
Yeah, we did the chassis.
Yeah, you guys sectioned the chassis.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. We had to make the wheel well bigger, and we had to move the seats back. That was pretty cool. John Forrest was an absolute nut.
Did we
We
have to
did-
drop
yeah,
the
drop the
floor on
floor.
that because his foot was so big it physically couldn't fit between the floor and the bottom of the dash?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Chip or one of his guys called, and they're like, dude, his foot, literally, if you put his foot on the floor pan, it will not fit underneath the dashboard. And we dropped, like, made him some pieces to drop the
Oh,
whole
it was
center cross member.
engineered, designed, cut, built, shipped in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Wow.
tell everybody that,
That's-
but that was like,
yeah.
and that was Chip calling like, I don't know what to do. Like it's a big ass foot. Like figure it out.
It's a huge fucking
We
foot.
got
dude.
we
It's like-
got one of his shoes to use as a template. His size 22. Chip put his foot with his shoe on inside of Shaq's shoe is. So yeah, I've forgotten that you guys had done that chassis. Kudos to you guys for making
he
that
looks
work.
like a fun guy to work with. I've seen him on some of the what's the dude
Sports shows.
No, the other
Yeah.
the fucking
Yeah.
Brian something.
The
from
general insurance commercial.
Stop it. No, yeah, of course I've seen those. Why am I'm drawing a blank? The West Coast Customs dude.
Okay.
He's always
Oh
doing
yeah, Ryan.
right.
Yeah,
He's always
Ryan.
doing cars for him. And
He
Shaq
just looks like
a
he's
good time.
he's just
man.
having a good time.
Yeah.
Shaq was an absolute blast. He was such a nice guy. Gave us all the time we needed in making the show. You know, giving the car back to him. He was just really gracious and really loved the car.
Who was not a great time?
Well, there was like nobody who you guys would know, but there was a couple people on the show that we had built the car for that weren't as appreciative, I think, as we thought they were going to be. But that only happened a couple times. John Force was a nut. He was just crazy. After we stole his bus that he actually used to be driven to school in when he was growing up, and he had just won his 14th funny car championship at the time. So we put a big 14 on the side of it and customized the interior and everything. But we all dressed up in his race jackets and stole the bus out of his yard, his race shop yard. And so when he was watching it on the security camera, he's like, "All those guys are wearing my race jackets. What the hell's going on here?" And when we gave him the car back, or the bus, we gave the bus back to John Force. He was so like out of control and excited, like the show totally didn't matter to him at all. Like he was, we'd say, "Okay, John, stand here. Chip's going to stand here. I'm going to stand here. We're going to try to do a bit to the television camera." And like as soon as we would say, "Okay, go," yell action, John would start talking to Chip and waving his arms around and putting his back to the camera and everything. We had to do it like 10 times. Like, "John, stand here. Chip's going to be there. I'm going to be there." Just try to contain yourself for a minute. And he couldn't do it.
He's
He
a
was such
talker.
riot.
I remember being at
Oh man, he
Detroit.
can talk.
They do the Riddler banquet ball
Yeah,
thing,
we were there for that one as well.
And that's the first time I'd ever seen. I've gone to a good bit of those. First time where he gives his speech, he was receiving whatever award, and that was kind of like I think it was Bob Millard or somebody gets up, and it was just like, "All right, it's enough. Like we've got the
Oscars.
Yeah, we got the rest of the show to do. Like you're gonna have to wrap it up."
He's on the chip.
Yeah. Every interview after he wins a race, he's still going 300 miles an hour in
Oh,
the
yeah.
interview.
Oh, man. It's out of control. I mean, I guess you kind of have to have that personality to do what he does, do it for as long as he's been doing it. But he is aptly named John Force.
Oh, yeah.
He's a force to be reckoned with for
He is a
sure.
force.
Yeah, he's an incredible guy.
Tell us a little bit about wrench.com. What's going on with that?
Yeah, Wrench is a really cool company that was actually founded by a guy that I went to college with. It's essentially a mobile mechanic. So, instead of taking your car in to get an oil change or the brakes done or whatever, you can call Wrench up, either use the app or the website, or you can just call them on the phone and schedule an appointment, and they'll come to you and perform the service either at your house or at work, wherever is convenient for you. And it's really taken off. This day and age, it's all about convenience and not being at the mercy of someone who's doing the work for you and, taking a day or two to do something that could be performed in a couple of hours. So my buddy Ed Peterson, who started this company, he met with me at SEMA a few years ago, and he's like, "Hey, we want you to be our spokesperson." And I was like, "Absolutely, I'll definitely do it." And they've since acquired a sister company called Lemon Squad, which is a nationwide mobile inspection service. So, if you're buying a truck in Texas and you can't get out there to see it yourself, 11 Squad will send an inspector out there, give you a 100-page inspection report, bumper to bumper, let you know what they think, totally non-biased. And then you can either buy the car or not with that knowledge. So I'm a spokesperson for both those companies, and it's, they're both really taking off. They're doing well.
The only thing next would be like mobile bikini car wash. We could just
The
call
rent,
up and order them.
Let's go.
Phil and I,
on.
we should check out that rent. The two of us might actually change the oil on our cars if we can hook
If
up
somebody
on that.
could do it.
If they could come out and just get it done.
Tell you what, it's a great. If they have profile pictures of the mechanics now, where you could be like, yeah, get in there nice and deep, and let that guy do all the work to it.
What, I don't understand that. Where
you
you're
could
going
just
with
pick.
that.
You
Go in a
could
different
pick.
direction.
You could
Oh,
pick
yeah.
who was working
He's
on your
back at the
vehicle.
bikini car wash.
Yeah, no, see, I was just talking more like the convenience thing. I don't know where you were going with that, but
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, bikini car wash. Yeah, mobile. That'd be
Going
great.
back to
I'm
the
sure
bikini
that would be
car wash.
If you could just order it up,
No, yeah.
I think it'd be a great
Yeah,
idea.
but
go for it.
It is a great service, man. I mean, I've used them a bunch of times. I get my oil changed. So it's just like,
So what-
if they show up, give them the keys.
what do they
Couple
use for?
hours
Do
to
they is it like a Sprinter van? Do they come with as a trailer? How do they handle?
Yeah, they've got Sprinter vans
Yeah.
that they use that are all logoed up, the wrench logo and everything. And
and that's
yeah, I mean, it's not, they don't ship it out to third party contractors. Every wrench
it's theirs.
mechanic is a wrench employee.
And that's nationwide, or were they focus?
They are not quite nationwide, but I think we're in like 25 cities. So all the major
Wow.
cities.
Those are all
Yeah.
wrench employees, though. That's great. That's what I
That's
was
a hell.
worried
Yeah.
about.
That's a hell of a concept.
You would actually
Yeah,
get
which
the oil
is-
changed then?
Yeah,
You
because
think?
otherwise I wouldn't. Otherwise it wouldn't happen at all.
It's a pain to go. I put it off for like 6 months trying to get to the dealership. Like you got to kill
I
2
just-
hours a time.
I know. I went and
They
got
could
mine
even
done
do-
yesterday. It sucked.
Honestly, they could even put oil like just in the car, like in the truck, because the last truck, the Roadster shop truck that you were driving.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that story?
No.
So I slum it when it comes to like a daily driver. We've got a bunch of like 3,500 dualies at the shop, so I drive whatever the hell's got the keys in it. But I know we're always moving cars, so I'm going out of town, and I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't take this because I know we're moving trailers everywhere. So I grab our old like Roadster shop, just a 1,500 Chevy pickup truck that Josh was daily driving. I'm like, I'll drive this. And I'm driving in with me and Mike, and we get to the airport. I'm like, holy dude, I'm surprised. It's a 2011. It's 100 and something thousand miles, but I'm like, man, no problems, man. It made it to the airport. Absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, all these warnings on the dash start going off that say no oil pressure, shut engine down immediately.
You ran all the oil out of it.
Yeah.
In
So
that
having
30-mile
right,
drive.
so having been there in the past with my old OBS truck, I'm like, oh, should you kick that sucker in neutral, bring the RPMs up, at about
Bring in some
2,500.
oil pressure.
Yeah, you get a little oil pressure in there. So now it's still been about a month. We haven't put any oil in it, but
Drove it all the way back.
yeah, I drove it all the
Yeah.
way back. You just keep the RPMs up. You're good.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
You fuck with it now. It's going downhill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's seasoned. It's got the right level in it.
Oh.
It's a wrench.com.
Yeah,
They
wrench.com.
can
That's
take care
pretty.
of that.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't like this endorsement whatsoever, but it's
Well,
actually
that's
seems like a good
no,
company.
that's the out of convenience, dude.
Yeah.
That would save you from that scenario.
No publicity is bad publicity. We're talking about them. That's all they want to know.
Daily driver. What are you daily driving right now?
My red eye.
That's it. Everywhere you go, that's what you drive.
Yeah, I mean, we also have an Acura MDX because I recently became a dad. So we had
Congratulations.
mom friendly car. Thank you very much. Yeah, she's almost 4 months old.
Congrats,
So the Gladiator that I used to have wasn't exactly easy to get in and out of,
sure.
especially with the car seat and everything. So we got the mom car, as I like to call it. And then of course my 911, the one that I'll never get rid of. I drive that a couple times a week. Little zipper. I love driving the 911. But if I'm just like doing whatever, it's the red eye.
They've got on here what's your dream car, but he's already answered that. It's AA Arcuda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
you?
And
So,
if I that's the Mopar world. Porsche world.
Sky's the limit. Just sky's the limit. Dream car. Money's no object. Sky's the limit.
Oh man.
Don't. I've already picked Probe GT, so you can't go there.
Yo, you did
that
Pro
one's
GT's
taken.
up there. Oh man, I would say probably a 72 RS, or sorry, 73 RS.
Yeah, it's
Um, just for just iconic nature and value, and being a Porsche guy. Um, yeah, probably a 73 RS. I'd have to say, sky's the limit.
that's a cool car. When you fantasize about the AAR CUDA, do you envision that being like a nut and bolt restoration, or is that like I want it to look like an AAR CUDA, but I want to resto mod
Yeah,
that
I
fucker.
mean, there a buddy of mine actually had one that was pro touring. I don't think it was originally an AR, but he put the decals on it to make it look like an AR, but it was pro touring. I think I probably want a nut and bolt restoration. Maybe a little freshening up, but I mean, it's not an AR if it doesn't have the 340 and the side pipes, and so an AR's got to be an AR. As soon as you start modifying it, in my opinion, it kind of is no longer an AR.
Sure.
So
I fucked up. My first car that I restored was a 70 Challenger TA 340 with a 6-pack, kind of the sister car to the AAR CUDA. And then I sold it right before all the Mopars went through the roof. So I think I
Worst
sold it
timing
for
ever.
like $26,000. 2 years
man.
later, that car was back on eBay. I think it brought like 95,000.
oof, 4-speed.
Yeah.
That one hurts.
Yeah, but just think, if
That's-
you would have
Yeah.
never got that 26,000, you would have never got into the spec Miata. I mean, that was what funded
Yeah.
the Habit. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, that bought the Miata, the tires, the race trailer,
Ridgeline.
the whole shebang.
Right.
Right.
Havoc,
Yeah.
nice.
No.
Born with
Love that.
gasoline in his veins.
Sold it and got a 99
awesome.
Super Sport Camaro.
Yeah, that was a
donut
fast,
machine.
dude. That was a fast car.
Yeah.
Horribly built car,
Yeah.
but it was fast.
Oversteered.
I think all
Parking.
the GMs from that area,
Yeah.
all the GMs from that era were kind of in the same,
A lot of plastic, a lot
poorly
of rattles.
constructed. Yeah,
You
yeah.
remember how
Yep.
you'd wait
And
like
everything.
15 to 20 seconds for that window to go up?
Yeah.
Remember that?
The
And the
Right.
floor pans had like there's like a lunch, but it's like your feet were on a lunchbox.
the
that was
skip
kind of
the skip
planted.
shift thing to me
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
worst
Oh, yeah.
fucking thing
You
ever.
go to
That
put it-
skip shift.
Was it second or
No,
third?
Yeah,
you
would
go
skip-
first to fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody'd always fuck with you, think you didn't know how to drive, but
Yeah.
it's fucking GM.
That's a solid car though. I mean, the trans and the differential that Phil fucking punished
Yeah,
that thing.
it took a beating.
Oh, you
Right.
could redline clutch drop it. I mean,
Yeah, the
nothing.
mechanics were okay. It was just everything else. The interior and they used all that same stuff in all the GM cars, and it just, it was all terrible.
Those doors were fiberglass and they still weighed 800 pounds.
Yeah.
The first one I went to look at, went for a test drive, and the salesman took me for a ride. He's like, "This is a Hirsch shifter. You don't even need to put the clutch in to shift it. Watch this." Made a lot of noise.
I don't want this
I
one.
didn't buy that one. I went to a different dealership.
Yeah, exactly. This is the test car, right?
So
And then remember those days where they, I think it was even earlier than that, like in the 80s, where they maxed out the speedo at 85. Remember those
Yeah.
days?
Oh yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
you just peg it
How
and keep
good
going.
Yeah, it would just
that?
kind of go like this when it got
Yeah,
there.
It's like, what's the point? What's the point of that though? Like someone's gonna, oh, we're going 85 now.
Shut her down.
Go. Yeah.
Where now that you've been in this for a long time, where do you see the industry going over the next few years? What do you think things that are popping up? What's going to be the next big trends?
Well, I mean, obviously, electric and electrified is where it's going. I mean, I just read an article today about, at Roadkill Nights in August, Dodge is even going to be introducing some new cars and kind of teasing that they may be at least a hybrid, if not full electric.
Dodge
You know,
killed
I
SRT, didn't
understand. They did. They stopped making. I think they stopped making the red eyes altogether. And I think I don't know if they're still making the Hellcats or not. But I mean, that whole program was kind of like on the wane for the last couple of years anyway. It's hard to believe that new Challenger body style is already 12 years old, 15 years old, something like that. And so they've gotten a lot of mileage out of that style. But back to your question, where do I think it's going? I think that electric is kind of the trend, but electric's got its own issues. I mean, just because it's electric doesn't mean it's necessarily better for the environment.
Well, that's where I was gonna. I'm not to
Or
derail
more,
too much,
you know?
but you're daily driving around in a red eye in Southern
Yeah,
California, dude. What
yeah.
kind of looks do you
People
get?
must be chucking rocks at you.
You've got to be the
Yeah.
biggest douchebag. Like,
They must
that's
hate you.
yeah, that's a difficult drive on a daily basis.
Fortunately, it's a really cool car aesthetically. So I think, you know, I get more thumbs up than the
Okay,
Bird.
good,
Um,
good.
People may be thinking that, but I don't really care. It's like, because I know I don't really drive that much. So I'm not, environment. I think someone with a car with a hole in the muffler that's pumping out black smoke down the freeway is much, worse than what I'm doing by driving it. Yeah, no, I don't really even think about that, like the environmental effects of my driving a red eye, just because, like what I was saying before about electric cars, with battery disposal. And it's not like driving an electric car is free, by the way. You still have to pay for the electricity to charge it.
Oh, you also got to pay for all that child slave labor that is to mine all the minerals for the batteries too. I mean, that's
it.
It takes nimble hands.
yeah, that's way worse than that's way worse
soft nimble hands.
That's right.
way worse than Chris Jacobs driving around in a red eye. That's for sure.
I would love to see.
I don't feel guilty about it.
I'd love to see a real study on that. The factual information, because I'm not an opponent. We've talked about this a bunch.
You're never going to see a real
right.
study.
I don't dislike the EV stuff. It's got its place, but I'd love to see the hard, the numbers,
rainbows and unicorns,
exactly.
like they make it out to be.
Yeah.
Never going to happen.
No, and to answer your question with regard to where do I see the collector hobby going, I think you already touched on it. As the older generations phase out, you're going to see the collectibles, filling those gaps, and it's already starting to happen now. The late 70s and 80s, and now the 90s cars will probably start popping up. And, a year 2000 car is already considered a classic.
Yeah.
I think if your barometer is 20 years, a 2000 vehicle is a classic right now.
What year did you graduate?
From
high school.
College or high school?
High school.
High school, 88.
I'm telling you right now, GeoTracker
Dude,
ain't gonna be worth nothing. I don't care, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. A GeoTracker ain't bringing
like
no
a
money.
little Bronco. It's kind of like an early Bronco.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, a GeoTracker ain't worth nothing.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 97.
97.
Yeah. Go ahead, bring the old jokes.
Dude, I'm not going to bring the old jokes. I'm just going to say, like, I would have guessed, like, he looks significantly younger than you. I mean, significantly. I would have said, you probably graduated a couple of years ahead of me. Like, maybe it's Phil's age. But
price when I was 18, and I looked like I was 12. So now I'm reaping the benefits of being 52, and hopefully looking younger than 52.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you, Father Time is undefeated.
It gets us all. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about that era of car. Like our 3 banner cars right now, our highlight vehicles that are in our assembly shop are a 88 OBS Chevy pickup truck, an 87 Grand National, and a 79 white Camaro Z28, which is the same as 8081.
Right.
It's that era. It is definitely coming
Scott
up.
Just bought that.
My brother had a Z28. I think his was a 79. And so that car really resonates with my childhood memories too, because I remember him and his buddy. His buddy had an 81 and he had a 79, and just watching them work on them in the driveway. So those kind of late 70s, early 80s.
If you didn't pull
Z28.
chicks in a 79 Z28, you weren't trying. I'm telling you right now.
They cut your ponytail off.
Yeah. That would handicap you.
Yeah.
But that's one of those.
Cut your mullet right off.
Yeah. That's a sleeper, man. That's one of those undiscovered cars because everybody's so super focused on the Trans Ams.
Yep.
I've always loved that stripe package on the Z28. It's so bitchin'. I mean, the white one, the yellow one, like the orange and red stripes.
Yellow. Yeah, my brother had a yellow one, and it was just such a cool looking car. And I agree with you that the stripe package on that Z28. So that reminds me, the Mecum in Indiana that just happened a couple months ago. Someone had done a frame off restoration of one of those, like nut
Really?
and bolt restoration of I think it was an 81 Z28. It was gorgeous. It was so cool, man. And the dash, you remember how like unique those dashes were with like the the disco ball backdrop on the dashboard.
Oh yeah.
Everything was perfect. It was so perfect. It was, and that like corded steering wheel.
That would have been
Yeah,
a difficult
dude,
restoration
the
because you're not
corded-
getting any
yeah,
parts. for
Totally,
that thing.
right?
The corded steering wheel I thought
Exactly,
was
that's what I'm
so
saying.
random.
Yeah, the corded
Like, it
steering
was
wheel.
like out of a yacht or like
Yeah.
a Boston whaler from the 70s.
Wasn't Robbie's car and Joe Dirt?
Joe Dirt.
What was
That was a slant. You think you're gonna match that big old 426 Hemi against this slant 6?
it? Was what was the?
It was
Basically
a
a
fucking
fan.
Trans Am.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, slant, but
yeah,
it has slant 6 in it.
Yeah.
Is what they called it. in the-
yeah. It was.
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
That's so funny.
Just
Yeah.
Classic.
classic movie.
Classic. Yeah. I think David Spade bought that car, didn't he? Didn't he buy the movie car?
Oh, did he?
Joe Dirt.
The
I think he owns that Mopar. Yeah.
does he really?
I know he sold. They
Yeah.
just at Barrett at Scottsdale.
The Tommy
Or
Boy.
They
did he
sold
sell it?
The Tommy
He
Boy.
had it,
The
he
Tommy
sold it.
Boy car sold.
The Tommy Boy GTX.
Yeah.
That and the Mirthmobile.
Yeah, the
67
Mirthmobile, yeah.
GTX.
Good transition into one of the standard questions right there.
Favorite movie car?
Favorite
Yeah.
movie.
Favorite movie.
Other
car-
than the
car-
Mirthmobile.
Yeah. Either you can. Hey, guess what? We're gonna change it
favorite
out.
car movie?
At 20 episodes in, we're gonna give you the option right now, or ask actually,
Movie car or movie?
what's your favorite movie car, or what's your favorite car movie?
That's
Either
good.
or both.
That's good.
It's almost one and the same, because if I was ever going to drive a Mustang, it would be a '68 Mustang. So the Bullet Mustang is, I mean, in my opinion,
Yeah.
just the color and the wheels and the package and it being in the movie is probably my favorite movie car. I love seeing bullets go at auction. And I love the movie Bullet. I have an enormous Bullet poster in my living room over there. So I would have to say, yeah, maybe one and the same.
Isn't it
And then
funny
if
that you
it
can
was-
call it a Bullet, but you can't call the other Mustang the other name? The other movie.
Yeah, the one that we're not allowed to call from Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
You can
Get
call
sued
it
for
a
that.
you can
Dude,
call it a
who's-
Bullet all day
yeah.
long.
Who is the
Ford could even make
Yeah.
a Bullet edition, but you can't call the other one.
who's the asshole?
That's the wife.
on that.
That's his wife. The original producer or
Okay.
yeah, it's his wife that has the estate of that, and that shit don't fly.
Yeah. Well, in fact, at auction, we're not allowed to say it unless it is a licensed
Yeah.
that car.
Yeah.
You can't call it that car unless it's a licensed that car. And then like, geez, what else? I mean, I love old movies too, where it's like they're not even like car movies, but like you see all the cool cars from the era that were in there. And then I also like movies that have like, like John Wick, where the
Yes.
guy goes to the gas station and he calls his car a Boss 9.
Yeah.
But it's not a Boss 9. It's a Mach 1, I think.
Yeah.
But he doesn't correct him. And I'm sure every car guy out there is going, that's not a Boss 9.
All the John
Yeah.
Wick movies, those were good movies.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
John Wick movies are great, especially the original.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was what Joe was saying. Something didn't he want to look? We got
Oh,
him
yeah.
that Chevelle. He's like,
Yeah,
I
he
like
wanted
fucking John Wick.
yeah, he
Wick.
wanted the Chevelle, because of the John Wick. The
Yeah.
part where the Chevelle's in the John Wick movie. Yeah.
So he's a Keanu Reeves fan.
Yeah.
That's what
Joe
you're saying.
Rogan's a huge John Wick fan.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, when they go to the garage, see all the cars that are in there, when John Leguizamo,
Yep.
you first meet him and you see all the cars in that garage. That's a really cool scene too.
Uh
Yeah, but I'm going with Bullet.
Bullet.
Gotta go Bullet. Yeah.
Bullet's a good one.
I'm surprised
Solid
that
pull.
hasn't come up more. I mean, Bullet's a fucking
Bullet
phenomenal
comes up a
movie.
good bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have picked you for Vanishing
And then if it was a
Point, being the
Mopar,
Mopar guy.
if it was a Mopar, I would probably say either Vanishing Point or Crazy Larry, Dirty Mary. You guys saw one?
No, never even heard of that one.
Dude, if you want
Yeah.
if you want to take a deep pull for the Mopars, if you're familiar with Two Lane Blacktop, which is a phenomenal
yeah.
fucking movie. The opening
Yeah,
scene,
isn't that Dennis Wilson?
James Taylor.
Or James Taylor.
Yeah.
Right? I knew he was a musician.
Yeah, James Taylor. But the opening scene was like it was a real street racing scene. So they rounded up all these real street racers and they filmed it. And there's a Plymouth Superbird with some big ass slicks on it
Really?
racing the 55, and and it's launched and it's so cool. I mean, that's a
Plymouth had a Hemi with a torque flight,
yeah,
didn't it?
that's right.
Another
Two-lane.
good Mopar movie car that's actually a newer movie. Did you guys see Nobody with Bob Odenkirk?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's a great movie. You guys
Is that
definitely need
the
to
Better
check
Call
that out.
Saul guy?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the
saw it.
movie
It's a
yet.
really good movie.
Is it?
And so at the end his neighbor inherits that 73 Challenger, from his
Yes.
dad who passed away, and Odenkirk ends up ripping it off at the end of the movie. It's great, and he totally beats on it.
Damn.
That was
A
a
lot
really
of fun.
good movie.
Completely useless.
That's a fantastic movie.
Useless piece of knowledge because neither one of you guys are
We're alive yet.
of The Office fans. But I don't know if you ever watched The Office or anything.
The original Office.
Okay, I was a huge U.S. Office fan. So before Steve Carell got the job, that was Bob Odenkirk was originally cast for.
Oh, was
His
he really? Oh,
character.
wow.
Yeah.
That would have been great. Yeah.
Completely
Dude,
useless piece of knowledge.
Dude, that is awesome.
That's a
That's seriously
Papa Josh
that
knowledge.
is the greatest thing I've heard all day.
Why don't
Yeah.
you- what's the greatest piece of advice that you've ever received?
Oh, that the one thing that you have that no one else has is you. Sounds totally corny, but it in the acting world and when you're auditioning, you constantly feel like you're trying to be something else besides yourself because you're trying to give whoever you're auditioning for what you think they want to see, and what they're going to cast is you. And so just be you, because that's the one thing that you have that nobody else in the world has. So
I think that translates
use it.
really well to our industry as well. I mean, you've got guys,
Yeah.
you got a lot of young guys coming up, and when we were that way as well. You're looking at all of the Godfathers that are doing the stuff, and it's very easy to try and emulate what they're doing. But like you said, what you have is you. So do your thing and do it to the best of your ability.
Right.
That's how only way you can be an innovator or have your style is if you do
This is
your
true.
thing, do what's in your head. That's a really good one.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's a good one, and
Yeah.
it's very true. I mean, man, talking to you on this podcast, you're the exact same dude that's on Overhaulin and
Yeah.
every other show. I mean, it's,
It's no front. I
Right.
mean, it's just you.
It's the only skill I got.
Piggyback one off that. What is something that you wish you could go back and tell a younger you?
Charge your AirPods because I'm running out of juice with them right now.
And we're winding down here, so we're good.
Jeez, let me see. I think if I could go back and tell my early high school younger self is, don't stress about kind of being not as advanced as you want to be, because it's all going to come out in the end. I used to stress a lot because, when I was a younger kid, I wasn't like as advanced. I wasn't as tall or as, big as the other kids. I was a late bloomer, I think is what you call it. And so I really didn't kind of hit a growth spurt until I was about 17 or 18 years old. And I used to stress about it so much because all my friends were so much taller than me and everything like that. So if I went back to a younger self, I'd just say, just don't worry about it. It's all going to be fine in the end.
Dude, that's great advice. I'm still waiting for that growth spurt.
Oh, dude,
Dude, I'm 30. I'm 39 years old.
At
You'll get
40,
there.
you're gonna get there.
Yeah, I think 40 is the year.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
That's
coming.
great advice. I appreciate that. Dude.
Oh, and last but not least, the question that everybody's waiting for that listens to this podcast from the beginning is something we ask every single guest. And you'd be surprised at what we get. And that is time for you to do a pocket dump and what is in your pockets right now.
Well, okay. It's not exciting at all.
Chapsticks.
2 nights in a row.
Case.
Nice.
We've had
Dude,
two
this
chapsticks in a row. Yeah.
I will go back home if I leave without this. It's like keys.
That's what I'm
wallet,
talking about.
and
chapstick. Yeah.
And it's got to be the original.
So Jeremy feels vindicated
I
now.
do, dude. That's 2 nights in a row. Because the other night we were hanging out with the band Chevelle, and
Oh,
Pete
cool.
he doesn't
Okay.
fucking leave home without his Burt's Bees. He goes nowhere
Telling you,
It
bro.
could be the
without it.
fountain of
Yeah.
youth. I mean, he's
That's right.
Jeremy's got his.
Never know.
It's half of it's an unhealthy addiction. The other half of it
It's
is
just fucking with you
is
guys.
just fucking with us.
Yeah.
But we can. It doesn't matter if we're at a convenience store, we're at a hotel, wherever we're at. If we're gonna get a snack or a drink or something, it's always, "You guys want some chapstick? I found some chapstick. You need some chapstick? I got chapstick. Do you guys have
Well,
chapstick?" Is key to his life.
right over there where I put all my stuff down when I come home, it's like 20 chapsticks.
Fuck
And
yeah.
it's like, this is like,
Dude, I'm in
I've
good
got one by
company.
my bed. I've got one over there. I've got one right here. It's like
You have-
wherever I sit around my house, there's a chapstick.
You have made his week.
This is my week.
Well, Chris, it's been awesome.
Dude, it's
Seriously,
been so good.
great.
Thanks, guys. It's been a real pleasure. Yeah.
Next
Yeah,
I'm
time
thanks
you're
for
definitely
in,
going to come check you guys out when I'm in Chicago for sure.
We'd love that, man.
absolutely come check us out next time you're up here.
Thanks for your time, man.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at SEMA too.
Yeah, look forward to
Absolutely.
seeing you, dude.
See you
We'll see you
there.
out there.
Big thanks again to Chris Jacobs. You can find out more about Chris and all the things he's involved in and check out his Instagram at chrisjacobs70. Coming up next, we're breaking down some of our new favorite pieces of gear. All right, it's time for On the Gas. Everybody that's been listening knows what On the Gas is, but for our new listeners, in this segment, we want to take some time to shout out an individual vendor, shop, or company that's got their foot on the gas, hence the name.
On the
And
gas.
right
Dude,
there.
the name this week is perfect
It's
You're gonna
because
triple
Right.
down on it.
we are talking about gas
quite
this week.
fun. Who do we have
Um,
this week?
Vaporworks.
Vapor.
I don't know if that's a good one for a jingle. I'm not feeling the jingle on that one.
Okay. No jingle for Vaporworks.
But Vaporworks is
Vaporworks.
Yeah, check
Add
them
a
out.
little bit better.
Jump on their website, Vaporworks, with all the kind of the shift in moving to more LT stuff. I know, at least for us, we're integrating more and more OEM components, fuel pumps like CTSV pumps, ZL1 fuel pumps, and
All
things
the
like
Coyote stuff.
that. The Coyote fuel systems that's like your Achilles heel of a car project. That's what's going to take you out on a road tour. That's what's going to create problems. And Vaporworks is our go-to for anything that's PWM fuel pump controlled. We have kind of a special relationship with him. He's a great dude, and he helps us through any of those unique challenges, situations that there's not an off-the-shelf solution. I don't
Explain
know
the
that I
PWM, 'cause
necessarily want to.
most of our customers don't even know what the PWM is or what you need a fuel pump controller for. So give
Sure.
it the
So
quick deep dive.
Yeah, so back in the day,
To control the fuel pump.
Yeah, and still to this day,
fuel pump controller controls the fuel pump.
Yeah.
exactly.
Just letting you guys know.
Right. It was easy when
But-
you you had a 355 horsepower carbureted ZZ4 motor.
Power and ground, make it go.
Yeah, you'd throw a electric fuel pump if you wanted to upgrade, and you would have a fuel pressure regulator with a return line. So it makes your fuel system a little bit involved. Now,
And your fuel pump is running wide open
Yes,
nonstop.
and you get
it's,
into
a,
that-
it's a light switch on or off.
you get into that still to this day with much higher horsepower motors. I mean, I'd say for us, 600-700 horsepower is kind of the norm. That's kind of the average. And there's a lot of aftermarket fuel pumps out there. And those still to this day, electric fuel pumps, I mean, you can put them in, you can put it in the tank pump, you can put it out of the tank pump, and you can wire it and you can plumb it just like you did that old ZZ4, where you have a fuel pressure regulator and you're setting fuel pressure mechanically and you're returning it back to the tank with a conventional return line. It's twice the plumbing, it's twice the headache.
And you're putting hot fuel back into the tank.
You're cavitating a fuel pump. You're running a fuel pump wide open. That fuel pump, to keep up with the horsepower, is always running harder and hotter than it needs to. So
And it's a very short lifespan that way.
yes, and we have found that we lean more on the OEM GM fuel pumps because there are a lot of OEM motors making lots of horsepower. And when we can't, it's a Walbro pump or a dual Walbro or a triple Walbro or something like that, where it's still OEM quality, but we can now electronically control those fuel pumps. So it's a pulse width modulated fuel pump. And over there at Vaporworks, they make a real nice module that electronically controls your fuel pressure. No need for a return line. simplifies the plumbing, simplifies the wiring. You get a tremendous amount more life out of your fuel pump, and
The
it's
fuel pump's only running on a demand basis, right?
running
So
on a demand basis, and it's running
it
at
ramps up, ramps down.
yes,
as needed.
good stuff, man. Just great stuff.
Not to mention probably one of the best names, personal names in the industry. He's got a great name.
It's a good name.
Carl Casanova.
That's a fucking name,
That's
dude.
that's the name.
Yeah, that's somebody. When you drop that, you remember that name.
Because if Mr. Casanova told you, then he knows.
So great
Yep.
guy, great company. Standard equipment on any Roadster shop builds. We typically try to steer customers that direction when they're purchasing even a fuel tank.
Yeah, we try to
From
sell a
us?
controller with it because it makes their life a whole lot easier, makes their build better, and a lot less tech questions.
What's in that black box, you think?
It's magic.
I think nylon woven polymers,
You think?
urea, chips.
Urea.
Yeah, you dropped that one on me once.
Oh, I know. I dropped the
Yeah,
polyurea.
PF, polyurea. Sorry.
Yeah, urea's in
Yeah.
DEF.
All right.
but
Yeah.
PFM. There's a whole lot of PFM in there. But you don't have to worry about that stuff because Vaporworks figures it out for you.
check them out.
Hit them up. Check them out.
Vaporworks.com. Check them out on Instagram at Vaporworks. Vaporworks for On the Gas. All right. You know what it's time for? It's time for the glove box.
Yeah.
Glove box is where we tell you about some of our cool new gear, guns, EDC shit, whiskey, and other stuff that we're into. This In the Glove Box segment is brought to you by Stillhouse Spirits. Stillhouse has 6 different spirits in their portfolio: original whiskey, black bourbon, apple crisp whiskey, which this guy right here, you better be bringing it.
Working on
Classic.
it, fellas.
Classic vodka, peach tea whiskey, and spiced cherry whiskey. Stillhouse products are made in the USA, and the cans they come in are 100% stainless steel, so they chill quickly. Find Stillhouse whiskey at a store near you by going to stillhouse.com and using the store locator. That's STILLHOUSE.com. All right, guys, what do we have this week? First of all, before we get off that, what's our window? When are you going to be ready for this drink?
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat
I'm
here.
gonna be ready next week, dude. This week kind of got away from me. Got a lot going on with that OBS project. I've been kind of focused on that.
Bringing it.
All my creativity's
You think
channeled into that.
You're
right
still
now.
doing the frozen drink?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The problem is like
It's the weed whacker blender is kind of
yeah,
loud.
no, you can't finding like Bartles and James wine coolers. It's not as easy.
You don't see Bartles and
Right.
James anywhere
It's not
anymore.
as easy as it used to be, which is kind of my core
You could probably
ingredient.
find them at World Market. World Market has all of the
Do
things.
they really?
Yeah, they get clearly Canadian.
Some NOS.
Ooh, that was loud.
NOS. All right. What do we have in our pockets tonight, fellas? And who wants to go first?
Hit it, Phil. We're round robin here,
That's your up. Yep.
dude. All right, I'm excited.
Are you?
Guys, yeah, I'm
I-
excited because I have something
He
great.
slow played that.
He
Yeah.
did. He did.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't ready. So look, we're gonna clear the table because I have
Well, this is
something.
pretty legit.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah. So this one, I got cargo pants on today. I got cargos on. All right. So I got this tucked away here in the. All right. Check this thing out. Should we hit the cam? Hit the cam.
You ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Roof cam.
So I want to tell everybody. No, I'm not wearing cargos, but I had to bring this in because this is one of my proudest moments right here. Whoop, you fellas see this? All right, hold on. Can we get this all in there? So this is a skate deck. My son won his first skate competition. Wyatt won his first little skate competition, and this was first place. This was the prize. Now
Solid.
we've been cruising all over the place. And the best part about this is that after him competing constantly, and he finally won it, he called me as soon as he did, and he said, I won a board and I have to give it to you. It's going to be awesome because you need to put it in your podcast studio. It's perfect for your podcast studio.
Well, he's damn right because it's got boobies on it.
I know. So right then and there, it transitioned from like both my proudest and my most like embarrassing moments in life because in his mind, this perfectly encompasses what he believes
Is
Goes on in
happening.
the podcast.
goes on in the podcast.
All right. Well, who's who?
So take a look at this.
We gotta
And
get a fish.
as I started looking at it,
I know who is on there.
yeah, you've got Josh. Right? He's drinking whiskey. He's smoking. There's a whole shit ton of cigarettes over there. I don't know what's going on with the fish, dude. And I think that's
probably
probably
me.
Phil or myself. Again, smoking, drinking whiskey. You've got a big boob chick in the back on a
Oh, no.
poster.
Jared's back there in the back playing
That's
pool.
what I thought.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah.
So this basically he thinks this is what
There's a
happens
knife
every
in the
day.
corner by the jukebox.
Yes. Yeah. There's a knife. It
This is
says Beer
perfect.
City Killer Skate Till Death.
I know this is his prize, but can we just keep it and hang it up in here?
No, he said, dude, he gave this to me. And this
Are you
he-
serious?
Yes. He has been working his ass off. We've been to skate competitions all over the country. Finally won something. Wasn't
That's
like
really
wasn't
cool.
a big one, but it was something that he won and he gave this to me. So it's fucking awesome.
Gotta find a spot on the wall.
It's gonna stay in the podcast studio for sure.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I completely agree with that representation.
It's not, dude, it's not
It's
terribly
not
far off.
Just throw a beard on
Yeah.
that guy.
Right. That's yeah. So it's
This
awesome.
is
Yeah.
cool.
So
Thank you, Wyatt.
yeah, thanks, White. Follow and everybody give him a little follow. Check him out. He's on
He's on Instagram.
with all his skate videos.
What would
It's-
that be?
It's RS Wyatt _ SK8. Check him out. Give the kid a little love.
RS Wyatt _ SK8. That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
skate.
Skate.
Thank you.
Yeah, skate or die. So that's what I got
Yeah.
in my cargo pocket. Other
That's
than
some
that,
big. That's some big
yeah,
cargo
it's big
pants.
cargos. Beyond that, obviously got a knife.
And just notice that
Bam.
in this camera we can still pick up the Hummer.
You can pick up the top of the Hummer.
That's sweet.
Dude, what we need a Confederate flag on the roof of that thing.
Yes,
do.
you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
that.
you do.
What do we got, Josh? Because you know the make, the model. It's a mini bug out, right?
Yep, that's the Benchmade mini bug.
Yeah. Benchmade mini bug out. Great carry. Cool little knife. Plastic handle, slim.
Yep.
Solid daily driver.
It's a great truck knife. That's a knife you put in the console, you keep there. That's your
You can
truck.
come up with a location for any knife.
I can.
figured
You
out,
got
yeah.
drawer
So that one
knives, you
believes-
got office knives,
that
you
one
got
lives in the
pocket
con-
knives.
That
pocket
one lives
knives.
in the console of your truck.
Yeah.
Where
Not in your console. There's plenty of things
I've
in
got
your
like
console.
I have like an old steak knife or like a paring knife in my.
You have
You
a
had the
Gin- you have a-
machete in the back of the
I did.
OBS.
No,
Yeah.
I found yesterday he's got an OG Ginsu.
Yeah,
Legit
literally
Ginsu
says
knife.
Ginsu. Yeah, it's right
Yeah.
next to my My Pillow. Yeah, so yeah, just a watch out for that. Yeah, it is a just a good go-to knife. I think Phil's got the bigger one, right? The regular bug out. Don't you?
I got the bug out and the bailout. Those
Yeah.
are my two favorites.
Bug out, bailout.
Yeah,
Yeah, check
get a
that
spin
guy out.
on that. Get a spin on that. Tell you what,
It's a nice little knife.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Josh's ability to come up with situations for things. I feel
He's
like you
good.
justify
Dude,
all your purchases,
He's visual.
especially in the knife and gun world, on that.
on what? What you're going to
First-
do with it?
First, you needed like a backpack gun.
Yep.
So then you bought a backpack gun. Then you needed a truck gun.
Careful, my wife might be listening.
Then you got a gun that's go to the truck. The other day, he's sitting there looking at something. Hey, you think this would be a good satchel gun?
Yeah,
What's-
satchel's
Yeah.
smaller than a backpack.
Josh is super visual. Like
I've got to
got
know what I'm
quite
going
the
to do.
yeah,
I'm going to
quite
know
the
what I'm going to do
creativity.
with it.
So you carry a satchel and a backpack and a truck gun and a concealed carry gun.
No, all those are different. If you're going to be in the
And-
truck all day, it's a truck gun. If you're going to be wearing a backpack, it's a backpack gun. If it's a day that you were going to wear a satchel,
What is a satchel for us
That's-
north of the Mason Dixon?
honestly, it's made up. And I just wanted that gun. I'm going to be honest with you.
yeah.
That gun was the size to put in a satchel, and I said it would be a good satchel.
I thought a satchel was bigger than a backpack.
No, satchel's smaller than a backpack. Like an over the shoulder, like a messenger bag. Be a
Ah,
satchel.
Okay.
Other than that, in my pockets, dude. This is the cool ass little money clip that I rock on a
I'm
daily
gonna see it.
basis.
I'm gonna.
You
we
can
couldn't
notice
get it.
I'm a high roller. I got the single up top. I think there's a couple singles below it, and it's a Damascus. I think is it William Henry? Is that the?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it. So it's a cool ass fucking money clip. Got a little what would you call it? It's like a little emerald or something in there.
You know what this says?
Wood. It's got
When you pull this out, this says, "Yeah, I know it's a buck, but I like nice things."
That's right. Yeah.
That's exactly what it says.
Yeah, that particular money clip or any of this guy's money clips are probably not designed for rolling singles, in your money stash, but cool stuff, man.
But you always go reverse
Someone's
opposite.
gotta
You
do it.
wrap the big boys in the singles.
Yeah, I got like those $500 and $1,000 bills like Richard Rawlings.
Yeah.
I fold them up and I tuck them because I don't want anybody to see those.
No, that's
you know?
just
Yeah, it's not
pretentious.
a
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
that's not a show out
they're right
piece.
next to my $2 bills and my silver dollars. That's all I'm rocking.
Phil, what's
Yeah.
up next?
I'm going light. I am actually still carrying
You're liking that one.
that Civivi Elementum. I found one that I really like, and I'm kind of a creature of habit, so I'm sticking with it.
Telling you, I know we've talked about this, but everybody that's never had a Civivi or a Wii, if you're out there and you
Do
go
that.
to a knife store, dude, just play with the action
Action is awesome.
and you'll buy it.
Yeah. Really like the size. The only thing I don't like is the natural G10 handle, mainly because every time I pull it out, somebody asks me if it glows in the dark.
I'm telling you,
I do
dude,
the same thing.
You just try this. Tell them to shut the fuck up.
Phil hit the nail on the head in the last podcast that it looks like the stars used to stick on your,
It
your
does.
bed. It's identical. So it's kind of cool.
I
It
wonder if
takes
that's
you
what they were
back.
made out of.
It's probably the same.
I was
stuff.
worried
So
about this clip. It's got a little bit of a
it's a little
poke out.
delicate.
I thought this would destroy the console of the Miata, but you're
No, it's
saying that it's
fine.
been fine.
Yeah.
No, the problem you catch what happens is you catch that quarter panel when you're sliding in.
Oh,
You just
I've
nick
fucked
it.
up some steering wheels with
Yeah.
the clip from a knife before, but found a solution to it.
What you got?
Spent some time on Blade HQ. There are 4 pages of Civivi Elementum knives, and check that guy out.
I like
Wood
the wood
handle.
grain. I dig the wood grain.
You put that there.
Oh,
What's-
look at that.
wood grain
that
handle.
looks good.
what's
Yeah.
the name of it?
The Elementum.
I'm a sucker for the wood grain handles.
I don't have anything on the wood grain side. I really like the natural wood. So as I was doing my searching for this knife, that came up. And I think I'm gonna have to pull the trigger on that one so I can get the knife
There it is.
with a cooler handle, and nobody will ask me if it glows in the dark.
I'll take that one off your hands then because I like that.
So that one right there.
Yep, got kind of that distressed hand rubbed black blade,
That's a good looking.
stonewash
Hold on.
blade.
Just a second.
The other one. Oh no, that's on a remote.
A and B on the top left of the right remote. Nope. Down. Over.
He's gonna fuck this whole thing up. You
Yep.
don't let
Just
him
bring
touch
it- just bring it
technology.
to me.
There you have it. Fucker doesn't glow in the dark. Does not.
Yeah, I already
That was
knew
the
it didn't.
longest play.
Phil's been talking about it, over and over again.
Everybody asks if it glows in the dark.
Well,
It looks
so
like it
does.
should glow in the dark.
Now you know it does not. I wonder if you put it. I'll bet it fucking
gotta
rips
charge it.
in front of the black light.
Yeah. So there's another one with a hand rubbed bronze scales that's also pretty badass. So I got both of them saved in my card. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with yet. And there's a Damascus with a blue kind of forged carbon. It's pretty sweet. That left there, yeah.
Wow,
That one looks pretty damn cool too.
it
It
does.
does. All of those look cool.
Yeah. And they're like $60, $70 knives. So I don't have to explain anything to my wife when she sees the credit card bill.
I've started to get a little bit pissed off. I don't know if it has anything to do with us. But every time I go on there, I'm starting to find a lot of shit fucking out of stock. I keep getting people texting me, "Hey, I bought some knives at Blade HQ. Hey, I bought some knives at Blade HQ." Got guys all over the shop. "Hey, I bought some knives." It's getting to be a little bit of fucking bullshit. Like we can't
You
even
get
buy
the,
any
like the
knives.
first hit on them.
Yeah, exactly. That's really hand rub brass there.
Yeah. They got a lot of cool stuff. I'd really never heard of them before
How
we
are
started
you?
this podcast.
How are you guys feeling about the non-clip knives? I'm seeing a fair amount of those, and they.
I don't know what you
sometimes-
do with them.
Yeah, like I've seen some really cool shit, and I'm tempted to buy it, but I'm deterred by the lack of the clip. They got like the little paracord
Lanyard.
lanyard coming off them.
Rock the necklace approach.
I don't know.
Hanging off the back pocket.
I don't know.
I don't know where you store something like that.
I've got to have a clip for my carry at this point. I don't know. But maybe you could slide one down in there and it worked in your pocket. I don't know. That was
I'm
I
going only pocket
promise
clip
you.
knife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am as well.
Yeah.
I've
But
got some non-clip stuff that's in, like your bug out bag or, EDC
Your
gear and
in your
stuff like that.
satchel.
I want to carry a fixed blade, but there's just no good way to carry it.
There's
You got to hook up. I've got a new clip that I got for one of my Essies that's a sideways carry on the belt.
Yeah.
It's a good size. It's
It's
not
like it
bad.
still sticks out in all weird angles.
No,
You don't catch it on stuff?
Have you seen what's that bench made with the little shorty? I got it for
Oh,
Dad
yeah.
in Florida, and it's got a little wood handle on it.
Yeah, I
That
like the wood
thing,
on that one.
dude, that is a bitchin' little knife, and you can carry it. It'll clip onto your belt. And
Right.
I mean,
That
it's probably
sits vertically, though, right?
it sits vertical. If you could mod that sheath and make it sit,
90. Yeah.
that thing would be choice. But even that the half face blade, that one isn't bad. I can carry it as a fixed blade, and it's a
Can you?
decent sized blade.
That's a big boy.
It's decent. It's probably a 4.5-inch blade.
Yep. It's an inch.
Hey, where
I'm
you
agreeing.
at tonight, dude?
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, where
You
you
said
at
if it's
tonight?
a 4.5 inch.
feel
I
like
said
you're
if
in-
it's an
I
inch.
feel like you're in heat tonight. You're like a dog in heat tonight.
Why?
I don't get that one.
Well, because everything's like some sort of sexual innuendo with you tonight.
Okay.
No,
You know what I mean?
you said if it's 4.5 inches. I said if it's an inch. That's a
Yeah,
that's
but
a saying.
dude, the
That's
way-
agree.
yeah,
That's
all right.
agreement.
All right, sorry.
You've heard that
I
before.
have, yep. So yeah, that's it. And then I got the standard pen.
Oh, I've got my bear pen, and you've got your bear pen.
I found mine.
Did you find it?
I've been disheveled this week. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
You were losing everything.
I know. It was sitting at home on my dresser tub.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Glad you found it.
That is the only thing I think I've ever held on to for longer than like 6 months.
Yeah,
It's probably 3 years old now.
You've told me you've lost your kids more than you've lost.
Yeah.
it.
I think I'm
They
gonna
can
turn.
fend for themselves.
I'm gonna turn mine into a necklace.
Hmm.
I just want it on my person at all time, like never to lose
I
it.
can't think of any reason why you shouldn't
Yeah.
wear a pin around your neck.
Do it. What are you rocking?
Pretty basic. Just the we're about a week in on the Ridge.
Looks like
How's it working out for
looks
you?
like a cassette tape.
I really like it. You don't know it's there. I was
Your back pocketing it still?
I was so surprised. You lose it. I guess it's got to be the
Yeah, give me that.
overall footprint.
Give me that thing. Let me see it.
Or the cavernous
really
of
back
your.
And it stays in the pocket too, huh?
It just
That feels nice.
it doesn't feel like the wallet does, and it'll ride over to the side, or you can flip it. And I don't even know it's there. But again, a weekend, I like it. Don't.
No, I'm just
Yeah, I know.
I'm being
it's
mature. Dude,
coming.
I'm being mature about it.
All right.
I'm just genuinely
Did you
checking it out.
flip your ID yet?
I did. I flipped my ID,
You got
and then
Sharpie?
we're rocking the Benchmade.
Dude, that little green anodized knob's picking up the light. Almost like neon from over here.
If that was a blue anodized knob, I'd be all over that. But since it was green, I told you to take it.
This is a Blade HQ special edition, only available at Blade HQ Bug Out, and it's the gray scales, little green thumb screw. I really like. I think I'm keeping this one because I'm gonna buy some custom parts. I think I'm gonna buy some standoffs and some screws.
Tune it up a little bit.
Yeah, give it a little bit of mod action.
Some green or purple screws. Some purple screws.
I'm gonna
make
change
that.
the thumb screw. I think I'm gonna go maybe a brass or a black.
You're gonna change the thumb screw?
Yep.
That's the coolest part about it.
Yeah.
I like it, but I'm gonna change it up.
I like the white scale or light gray scale.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's a great knife.
It's
just
nice
all around.
Yeah,
Just
it's nicely weighted. It's been a minute since we've paper tested any of these.
let's give it a paper test.
You give it a paper test.
You're the paper test guy.
Well, we're Benchmade on Benchmade.
Throw a little Civivi in the
Let's
mix.
see.
Get your paper out.
Here
You do
we
the
go.
paper test. You're the paper test expert.
Well,
That's some showmanship there.
yeah,
to
you
start
gotta
with.
you gotta get close to the thumb. That's what you gotta do. Let's see what we got here.
Good cut.
That's nothing to shake a stick at
Nice
right
little-
there.
Nice little cut.
We'll save that for last because we got Benchmade. I'd imagine the blades are on par, right? Neither of these have been abused.
You got
They-
different
think-
employees that sharpened them. Sucker sharp.
That is. Now,
See
remember
how this stacks up.
the Civivi. Should we cut with the front part of that? Little,
No.
No,
what do you
go with
call
that.
it? Would you call that a Tonto
That's
blade?
It
a
is a reverse
reverse.
Tonto.
Reverse
reverse
Tonto. All right. Forget.
You're gonna have to try that again. I
Yeah.
think
No,
you
I mean
came off.
I didn't have anything. There was nothing wrong with that. That's a
a
tough
sharp
call,
knife.
dude. Again,
Here's the tough part for me. Lay them down.
oh, forget it's a flipper.
So you're probably 150, 275.
I know.
I'm the guy that always
It punches above its weight.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm the guy that always goes clicks the highest price,
Mhm.
highest price, and then in stock. But that's a ripper. It's a ripper, and dude,
It's ceramic bearing is where it's at.
I love the action. Honestly,
I'm a huge Benchmade fanboy, so this is hard jumping camps.
dude,
But
I'm gonna tell you what this is. This is a Buffalo Trace right here.
Hmm.
That's
Good
what it is.
comparison.
Yeah, that's your whiskey that takes on
the big dollar.
all
The
the
heavy
fucking
hitters.
big guys, the
Yep.
heavy hitters.
$30
and
bottle.
bangs right with
Yep.
it.
Switch to the overhead camera thing. Is that thing always running? Wow. That's-
Oh,
yes.
that's our
Oh.
first. Is that our first cut?
No, it was a poke.
Oh, dude,
It was
I
just
thought
a
I
poke.
sliced you.
Lay that out.
Yeah.
You be the judge.
Look at it. I'm just taking it in right now.
Hey, you know what I'm excited about? That we have an overhead camera now.
That's
I love
legit.
the overhead camera.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. And something we do every single week for the glove box. What are we drinking? This one's not
yeah,
just
this is
this
something out
ain't
of the
your
norm.
normal. This
Tell
ain't your normal shit. Hey,
some-
dude. do
Sorry,
something
I
with that.
apologize. Sorry.
Making a mess over here.
I am sorry, fellas. Something out of the norm tonight. This has been sitting over in the corner there, and we've been eyeballing it. But Josh, this was kind of you were on the receiving end of these, weren't you?
Yeah.
You're Josh.
I know.
Yeah, so you
I'm
talk
sorry.
now.
So we had
No
I was checking everything.
worries.
We had a fan listener reach out on Instagram. This is actually from Village Garage Distillery. And they said, hey, love the podcast. Want to send you some of our bourbon to try. They are located right next to Hemmings headquarters. And they've redone this awesome building. They've got a great little restaurant and distillery there. So they sent us these 3 bourbons to try. They sent us a few weeks ago. I mean, good grief, we've been so crazy and wild at everything that's been going on and stuff. And tonight was the night that we got to try them. And I will say, I'm impressed. And they didn't pay us anything for this. They said, hey, try these out and stuff. And this is a really good bourbon. The Bonfire, I'm gonna be honest, not a huge fan. It's not that it's horrible. I'm not a fan of any of the Bonfire bourbons, whiskeys that put that smoke
Yeah.
into them. I like a smoked cocktail.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's
It's
sweet.
like
it
you're
is.
eating a s'more.
It is.
It's-
It is very. I mean, the name says it all, and it's it's sweet. It's easy to drink. It's almost like drinking a cocktail, to some extent. I'm always a little leery out of the gate with any of these what do you call it? Like micro distilleries? Is that what they're called?
Craft distilleries,
Craft
I think. yeah.
distilleries. So I was skeptical going into that because I have had really no success with any of these. But I'll tell you that
Yep.
we started with their bourbon, and the bourbon, it's good. I mean, that is no critiques with that. That's a
Yeah, that was really
absolute
solid, flavorful.
absolute good drinker.
That bourbon would land in the top 70 to 75% of our
Yes.
ratings that we've hit
There's
on
been some
everything.
there's been some big names, some stuff you'd see on the shelf at any liquor store that wouldn't hang with that, in my opinion. And then once Josh showed me their Instagram, and you start looking at like, dude, check out their facility.
Yeah.
It's a badass place.
Yes, that just makes you want to drink it even more because it is a
And they're car guys too.
kick-ass
I mean, look
place.
at that. Look. And but all that to be said, bourbon was great and all that. I just got into the rye.
Yeah.
I like that rye. I like that flavor.
The rye's always got a lot of flavor. I'm still not a rye guy. I love rye for Manhattans. I love it for Sazeracs for making cocktails. I think this would probably be really good for that. I don't mind it.
Right.
Drinking
It's a little different.
Yeah.
I like the nice change. They're up there in Vermont. Give them a follow. Village Garage Distillery.
Can you buy it in stores, or is this like a?
I was afraid you were going to
locally
ask me that
you need to do
question,
your Googling?
and I do not know.
I've
But
never seen
I
it in
guarantee you
stores
could
around here.
you could look at that. Look,
Click on their website.
let's shop Village Garage right now. I absolutely am.
Threefold.
Shipping included, over $80. You can buy it directly from them.
So there you go. 60
Sweet.
bucks.
And maybe they have it in the store. Keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, keep an eye out for it. I mean, I would support them. I would go to their I would go to their website, shop.villagegarage.com, and grab a bottle. You can do the Village bundle. That's Village bourbon and their Village vodka, which we didn't get, for $85. I mean, that's worth a shot. If they're doing bourbon,
I'd grab that for that kind of money. 'Cause
Absolutely.
When is vodka ever bad? And you're pouring it, you're mixing it. Like if you're throwing in a Bloody Mary, you might as well.
vodka is
try
very
it.
rarely bad, but there's every now and then you get surprised with a good vodka.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some vodkas out there that, especially nowadays, that are coming out. You're like, man, that's really damn good.
The Buffalo Trace one,
Yeah.
specifically.
But-
They're weeded vodka.
Thanks to the guys at Village Garage Distillery, really. I mean, we get
Something cool.
stuff
Yep.
sent all the time, and you never really know what it's going to be like. And this was one that was definitely a very pleasant surprise. Give them a follow on Instagram. Go on their website and order
And the simple,
order a few bottles.
we could spare you, the details and the review and all that. I'm filing this one under a buy it.
100%
we
buy
get
it.
you buy it, we get you don't buy it. So that is a buy it 100%.
But the bourbon is a buy it.
Yeah, the bourbon. I'm going for the bourbon. I could take or leave. I if the rye was at sitting on the shelf somewhere, I'd grab it.
You'd get the rye because you'd use it for cocktails.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's got so much flavor, it would come out great in some cocktails.
I agree.
The bonfire, hey, everybody's palate's different. You know?
It's a cool one to try if you haven't tried any of the bonfire cocktails
I'm
or
not gonna-
bonfire bourbons.
I wouldn't knock it. It's
Yeah.
not bad.
No, I'm not saying that.
by any means.
Oh, thanks to the guys at Village Garage Distillery. And that'll do it for In the Glove Box. But next up, we've got the Roadster Shop Hall of Fame. This is a segment where we take a few minutes and talk about some of our most favorite vehicle builds, the iconic builds, or the vehicles that were just a ton of fun for the Roadster Shop team to create. This is a very new segment. We've only done it once. This will be the second time. This will be number 2.
So
we've
That
done it.
generally
after the
comes
first
after,
time.
We've
yeah.
done it once.
Gotcha. And now this is
This is the
twice.
second.
It's
time.
like
Once we're
Hot Shots the movie and then Hot Shots Part
Part
2.
two. Once we're done with this one, we will have done it twice.
2 times.
Right.
Dose.
Two times. Right. So,
Yes.
Roadster Shop Hall of Fame. What do we have this week? Again, I prefaced it. There's no real standard. It's not like the best car. It's not like the car that won the most awards. It's not like the most expensive car.
You are selling it hard.
No, I'm trying to explain that these are
It's
just
possibly
like
like the worst car, or maybe it's something people didn't really like.
these are just ones that maybe have a cool story or a little bit more detail, something that we need to dive off into and have just a little brief discussion about.
But if they're on the Hall of Fame, they're going to be pretty fucking badass cars. So
Well, yeah. I mean,
just trying to bring it back up.
Dude,
after
some
you
like
just
the
shit all
suspense
over
is
it.
making me crazy here. Somebody say it. Somebody say it.
if we built it, badass.
What is it?
I set it up. It's your turn.
Well, did you know? Because we probably weren't paying that much attention to
All
what
right.
you were talking about.
Well, it's the green 56 gasser for George Boutique. That's the one for this week.
Yeah, that's a good car. That's a real good car.
Pull up some
Right there.
pics.
That's what it looks like.
Look at that.
Yeah. Super sweet. So
Yeah,
That was in its original. It's not like a 45,000 mile
Dude,
original
that-
car.
that thing was
That
was
was a
killer.
sweet ass car.
You
Remember that? It came out
y'all
of New York.
y'all got to talk about everything that goes with it, so I can get through the pictures and stuff like that. I
Okay.
can't run.
So what
You
you are
can't do two
looking at
things.
right
No.
there was probably the beginning of our Survivor collection, where we started really obsessively buying like bitch and Survivor
Yep.
cars, and we found this thing out of New York, which typically New York doesn't produce a lot of solid cars. But as you can see, as Josh is flipping through the pictures, other than like a little bit
Couple
of
body mounts, which is standard on
yeah,
a tri-five.
we had a body mount in the middle of it. We had the rear body mount, and that thing was absolutely spotless. And fortunately for us, George let us do our thing with it, which is that's a tough sell when you're saying that you want something that I'm going to take on a road tour and I'm going to drive all over and I want reliability. Well, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
George
straight
was
axle gasser.
Straight axle
100%.
gasser, cheater slicks, magnesium wheels, and a root style blower sticking through the hood. That's what I always think of.
This was another
1200,
of
1300 horsepower.
writing checks that ass might not have could cash, and he was setting us up for fair because he didn't think that because he wanted a driver, but he prefaced it. He's always wanted an awesome gasser, but he said the problem was you can't do anything with him. You can't drive him. So, not backing down from a challenge, we were like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, we can do that. No problem. That's easy,
Yeah, easy-ish.
easy."
Like when
and
you
then
yeah.
once he's like, "Okay, prove it," then that's where the fun started.
So you're going to drive a gasser on a road tour. You're going to drive it 3,000 miles. What are you not going to put in it?
Straight axle with a steering box and leaf
Yes.
springs.
Okay, so what is cool about a gasser is a straight axle. How do you get that experience, get that look, but make a
That's the
car?
look, not the experience.
Ye-
Right?
Well, yeah,
The look, the
fright, the
stance.
kind of the experience. Like we've had one here. We did that Nova, so the experience of changing lanes every time you stand on the throttle
Yes.
and just white knuckling it
You
and
don't
being
want that
scared to
experience.
death. I mean, I guess
No.
that's the experience. But what we did is create an independent front suspension that kind of mimicked a solid axle front end. Some really cool dropped A-arms with some punch flared holes, a fabricated truss kind of I-beam, and we made it so that it would accept a 15-inch wheel because you got to put a magnesium wheel on it. So we found some OG original magnesium wheels, which I don't know, some people might say they're dangerous.
They worked fine.
3,000 miles on the highway at, at average speed of 85 miles an hour would, I think, disprove that theory. So we gave it all the cool gasser stuff, but without the stuff that sucks about a gasser. And this is like, Bobby has it now. Bobby Ostario, who's got a lot of awesome stuff. And that's one thing I've communicated with Bobby is that I get first right of refusal on this one. This, at some point in time, this car will
be back in the collection.
belong to me.
Yeah, I think this one's just the coolest blend of old school hardcore gasser at a glance, but all our modern technology and insane amount of detail to make the new look super old and dated, like it belongs on the car.
Yeah, we blended all kinds of cool OG speed parts. All the indicator lights were old military pieces that were in the dash. It's just loaded with very cool, rare speed parts, but it's got the look, it's got the stance, cheater slicks on the back, and we ripped that thing in the rain.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
its maiden voyage was.
Look at that. That's a good view.
Yeah. All right. Hold it for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Dude, fucking stop. What are you doing? Seriously. I'm about to come across the fucking table. Is it cycling automatically? Is this like
No, I'm going through while you're
Okay.
continuing to talk.
Jesus Christ.
We got a lot of pictures to go through, but if you want to stop
can-
and
yeah,
go
talk
30
about
No,
minutes,
dude,
what? Yeah.
I want to take it all in. It's been a minute since I've seen it. I'm really enjoying looking at the picture.
all right.
Oh, should look at that. Just look at it, would you? Yeah, a lot of cool speed parts. OG, like aircraft seat belts, original Krager barefoot gas pedal. we kind of did up that lightning rod shifter. That who's the dude that does those? That guy.
Yep.
It's got a 4-link rear suspension because ladder bars are great. All right, but
It's got to have the look.
yeah,
But
you want the look of ladder bars, but you want the drivability, the performance, and the traction of like a 4-link. So we made the lower 4 bars appear to be a ladder bar. The motor, I mean, look at it. You'd glance
that's
at
the
that,
crowning jewel right there.
yeah, and you'd think that that is a just Hillborn mechanical injected small block Chevy, but it's a Whipple charger. It's an LS. It's an LS3, LS7.
Oh, 7.
LS7, and it's a Whipple, but it's a rear feed. So typically that would be a rear inlet, and it would have like an elbow that would sweep around with a single throttle body. But when you have an awesome engineering and design team, they create a 3D printed manifold, and believe it or not, that turns vertically. And what looks like a Hillborn mechanical stack injection houses 2 drive-by-wire
Nick Williams
Nick
105s.
Yep, some big old throttle bodies. And I think that at the time, wasn't it Roush was the only one that had a big enough 3D printer?
And they would do it
Yep.
in the time frame that we
Yep.
gave them. I think they did that whole thing in less than 10 days.
It's a combination. Isn't it aluminum and Inconel? Or is
Yes.
the whole thing? Okay.
Yeah. There
So
was
yeah, 3D printed aluminum and Inconel intake.
it was I think that the end product obviously speaks for itself and everything that we got to do with it. But the entire project as a whole, the body of work, the amount of fun that we were able to have doing it, because it was no rules whatsoever. It was to do our best interpretation of a gasser that we could, throw as much vintage cool in it while also making it work. And the time frame, as stupid as it was, the time frame that
was
we were
tight.
given,
Just had to make everything happen.
everything came together as a perfect storm. I
Yeah.
guess the victory, because of how difficult it was, is
When I'm,
it's
Well,
my favorite.
it is.
Yeah. It's
When
one
I-
of those we always wanted to build a gasser. You wanted to, I wanted
Yep.
to, I know you wanted
Yeah.
to. And I think everybody had just years and years of ideas stockpiled of what they wanted to do.
Brain
we just
dump.
Dumped it
spewed
all
'em
and then
on.
just scoured eBay and all these cool websites, finding all this cool vintage speed stuff and pulling inspiration from it.
And
Yeah.
then
And that's-
and then to top it off, the trip.
Yeah.
Dude, the trip
What we
was
were able to do with it.
the trip was unreal. I mean, absolutely unreal what that car did. And when you're back, the engine bay picture, you see that the devil's right hand that we've got across the top of the core sport. That's my homeboy, old Jeremy Senior,
Yep.
Lucky Strike. That's a guy you got to give a follow. That when it comes to artwork and stuff,
He's got the look.
he's
that's
got
for
the
sure.
look. He knocked that out for us, and I think it says it all for what
Yeah,
that
go
car,
back one.
what that car is.
It's 4 guys working underneath the car trying to get everything finished for the road tour to get it in the
There
time
was-
frame.
I mean, talk about some of those down to the wire, because that was, you want to talk about perseverance and overcoming.
Yeah, that's
There was some overcoming some obstacles there down to the wire.
that's it.
Yeah.
Even
I mean,
driving, even on the trip, we left without the car,
We did.
and that
Yeah.
was overcoming obstacles.
Yeah.
Kyle put it on the open trailer. We had to buy a
I was
trailer.
gonna say,
It's the
we
third
did-
time we
well,
had to buy a
Dude,
trailer
that's
for
just
a car.
that is the that's when you have the mindset that you are not prepared to lose.
Right.
This is this is what
That
look at
speaks
those
perfectly to
look
it.
at those fucking bad motherfuckers right there.
that was Wall Drug.
Damn.
I remember that place
Yeah.
like it was yesterday. But I mean,
So, it-
that's
maiden
through the
voyage,
Badlands.
Maiden voyage, it got put on a trailer. Kyle hopped in the dually, drove it all
With
the
Frank
way
John.
with Frank John. Drove it. Did we meet him in? Was it Cody, Wyoming?
Yeah.
It was.
I think the car had almost no miles on it.
We
took it off the
we had
trailer.
told we had already been 1 or 2 days on the tour.
Well,
And
we
we
were
had told
we were
George
late.
that.
We were late getting to the tour because we were thrashing on the car,
Oh yeah.
fighting a few gremlins, and we didn't leave until like the tour was ready to kick off. So the 3 of us drove nonstop, switching off.
All the way to Salt Lake City.
Yeah, through
Yeah.
the night. And then Kyle went, got the trailer, because we didn't have an open trailer at the time. Put the car on the trailer, rolled that thing out to Cody, Wyoming,
unloaded off the trailer, did a first, second, third gear burnout through the parking lot in the hotel.
Yeah, because we told George we didn't make it. We didn't have it done.
Yeah.
And, and he was polite. Yeah, I understand it. It'll be done when it's done, But, obviously we didn't want to lose. We didn't want to not do what we said we were going to
I
do.
like the challenge,
And so we surprised him with it. And then
drove it 2,000 miles off the trailer
absolutely
through some horrible conditions. A lot of elevation, some rain, couple rainstorms on cheater slicks, which always makes it fun. What was it, 1,200 horse, 1,100 horse? What did it make to the tires?
Yeah, it probably made about 1,000 of the wheels. Wagner motor.
I
Just a
don't
nasty motherfucker.
I don't think there's a straighter shooter that we've built that I've driven. That thing,
Yeah, that car's like a fucking rocket ship, man.
and
It just shoots.
yeah.
It's a
I think
missile.
I think my 15-year-old son could shoot that thing
I did-
straight.
well,
I mean,
I've seen him.
Well,
I've seen him ride a mini bike through your yard. I
He would-
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
But yeah, you
It'd still go straight.
Right,
It'd still go straight.
It still went straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an overall just absolute blast. I mean, down to little bitty
Are all
stickers.
these pictures on the website now?
We have all these pictures.
Yeah. I didn't know we had this many badass pictures of it. That's a cool fucking picture.
They're not on
That
the
is.
website, but we have these pictures.
They will be by the time this airs.
I'm enjoying just looking at these, man. It's been a while since I've seen the. Do you get wrapped up in that? Because when you're thrashing, all you're focusing on is getting the project done.
Well, that's what I was gonna allude to. Is it was so much fun from the overall standpoint of even like worrying about the finish of what the motor mount plate was going to be, going on eBay and finding all the old vintage drag stickers.
Yep.
I mean, stickering up the inside of the trunk, doing the battery.
Remember sending the control arms out to be chromed. Like,
That
no, we
was-
want like
yeah.
a shitty chrome job on it. Like,
That was
look
a
like
difficult-
shitty cast.
That was a
aluminum.
difficult conversation. Be like, yeah, I've seen your work. Like,
Don't make it nice.
don't make it real nice.
But dude,
Do,
I
like, a
need you to
bad-
do these fat. Like, hey, it's for the Roadster shop, but like, so I need you to do it fast. But
But
like, I
not
need you to do
good.
it like. I want to see like some gold bleeding through. I don't want him.
You're trying to make
ripples
vintage
and-
chrome.
Yeah.
It's difficult. That's a cool ass picture.
Yeah.
But all in all, I mean, there's been crazier cars, more engineering, better fit and finish. I mean, award winning. This one's just was a fun for everybody. I think every single person that had a hand in it had an amazing time, and it's one that they'll remember forever. It was just such a great. The
I
car
think
did
so.
everything that we thought and hoped it would,
And then some.
and then some. And it was an absolute just blast to do.
And then it moved on. It moved on to a great home. Bobby's got it now, and the more I look at these pictures, dude, I just talked to Bobby today. I'm gonna have to hit him up and tell him that we're borrowing that thing for a little while. I need to get it. I need to get my like.
I think it needs to go back to Columbus.
Yeah.
It didn't get drove around a lot. Didn't get played with a lot. I think it needs to go back to
Yeah.
Columbus.
We need to go
Just to cruise around the
We need to go
parking
pick
lot.
that up.
Yeah.
I need to get my fix
We got to go through there.
through Tennessee or Kentucky.
Bowling Green?
Southern
We
Kentucky.
can go down through there.
Yeah, I think that's kind of on the way, isn't it?
Yeah, we
it's
just
just
go
like-
south and then head
And then back up. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
6 hours, 8 hours out of the way on the way.
No, 3.5 to 5 hours out of the way. Just go down south, go to Bowling Green,
Right.
and then go to Columbus.
6
And then you
hours
go back,
to Bowling
yeah.
Green, then probably
Right.
6 hours to Columbus versus just 6 hours to Columbus.
Yeah, so about like,
12.
yeah,
so
3
six.
hours. I mean, if you average it together, it's only like 3 hours difference.
Okay. Go back one. Go
Yeah,
back
I
one. Go
said
back
too,
one.
I'm trying to
The
see
foot on the
yeah,
gas. Who's
I'm trying
wearing
to
fucking
see
Velcros?
who's got the fucking Skechers.
No, those are lace ups.
Are they?
Yeah.
I thought that was a
Yeah.
Velcro.
I thought it was
Someone's
too.
rocking crows.
Yeah.
Well, that was what we had for Roadster Shop
Great
Hall
car.
of Fame.
Love it.
It's a great car.
Yep.
It, like Phil said the other day, if you love it and let it go, and it finds its way back, it was meant to be. Or you just
Or if you chase
just
it and get
it.
it back.
Uh,
Either way, it's a win.
all right. Thanks everybody for listening to Oil and Whiskey with the Roadster Shop, an Ironclad original. If you like the show, be sure to leave us a rating and review. Thanks again to our guest, Chris Jacobs. Make sure you download wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you again next week.